It is the final day worth of Challengers group stage for Season 2 across both Europe and North America, and we've got some interesting situations in front of us. A lot of tiebreakers that could make its play, not just in Europe, but especially in NA. But of course, we need to find out who the number 1 seeds are also going to be. A lot to play for, one match to determine exactly how these teams will fall in the standings. My hold shifting with me, take me through the day, and carry me through the day. If you saw that one, you know what I'm talking about. I got Visions with me. Austin, you're looking very floral. I tried to match you with the same kind of pink and blue energy. I hope that you appreciate it.
I do appreciate that, Alan. You know what I mean? You're looking clean, looking really good. We're coming into day 2. This is all for playoff implications. So I think we got a great day ahead of us. I mean, it's not too often that you actually can control what's going to happen in some of these tiebreakers here. So I think that's what makes day 2 here really special, at least for Europe.
Very much so the case, because there are implications for multi-team tiebreakers, but at least for what we know for our second match today, we could just see a win and you're in situation. But before we really tackle onto that, let's see exactly how the group stage has fared so far in Season 2. Up top, a battle for first. Rocker Academy, Vengeance, both at 5-1. Wouldn't you know it, they meet each other today to determine who the first seed will be in the playoffs. But you kind of see the situation lingering down below them, where you've got 3 teams at 2 and 4, all of them playing different opponents than are, the 2 and 4 matchups, including a very big one between Sucre's Bakery and Doge Nation. In terms of the standings overall, though, Austin, how were your expectations coming in versus what we're actually getting in real for this kind of 8-team lineup that we have in front of us?
For sure. So I think the one that stands out here is, I think, Vengeance, just being a newly formed team. I didn't think they were going to come out and challenge Rocker for a potential number 1 seed going into playoffs. So I think that this team is certainly, a rise to the top here, so to speak. And then at the bottom, I feel like a Revenge Tour, a team that obviously lost Denza, was the 2nd seed throughout the very first season. And now all of a sudden is sitting here at 6. 2 and 4 has not had that same impact. So those are certainly the first 2, I think, that jump off the page.
Well, let's take a look at the schedule here. We've kind of teased it a little bit as far as what we're going to expect into the day for at least Europe. Rocker Academy and Vengeance, as mentioned, that is a battle for the number 1 seed in the region going into playoffs. Both teams have guaranteed themselves spots. Just comes down to who's first, who's second. And then the big matchup, that is a playoff implication, win and you're in situation for both Sucre's Bakery at 3-3 and Doge Nation, who have come up super clutch this week.
Yes.
Winning both their matches yesterday have thrown them right on into the mix. With another W today, they will be the 4th team in.
They very well could get in here for us. And I mean, a team that was 0-4 to now being able to actually put themselves in a spot where they win back-to-back games yesterday, have a shot at being able to take down Sucre's Bakery as well. I mean, they would hold 3 head-to-heads, guaranteeing themselves a playoff spot. That would be incredible, Alan. We know that there's a lot of anticipation here for that matchup, but I mean, you still have to decide who even our first seed is. So much going on here for us. And then North America, I mean, we're not going to be there for a while, but that's a totally separate conversation because there is all kinds of things going on there too.
I know we don't have time to do it now, but there's like 5 teams that are tied at 2 and 4, so it's going to get weird. But let's take a look at our first series in particular for the Rocker Academy. Obviously, a lot of people were very excited from the Spanish region about what this team was at the beginning of the year, playing as Young Galactics. They get picked up by the Minnesota Rocker as their official Academy team, and they have provided really nothing but results. However, there have been some extra vulnerabilities this season into the Rocker Academy, and I hate to harp on the negatives, but Metals has been kind of the loophole and the hole in the Swiss cheese when it comes to this Rocker Academy team.
Yeah, that's right. Metals has not had the same performance that we've seen from years past, that we've seen from the very first season. I mean, 0.64 S&D KD, for one, is certainly amongst the lowest that we have right now in EU. So we have not gotten the same Metals. And then you take a look at the overall team, 8 out of 9 of their hardpoint wins have been in the larger maps. We're talking about Gavutu. We're talking about Berlin. So their ARs are doing a lot of the work for them, meaning that if we get some of these smaller maps here, Alan, we need to see Metal step up here if he's running that SMG and really show us that he is that top sub that we've been talking about throughout Europe, throughout Cold War, throughout Modern Warfare, you name it.
And the Search and Destroy, I think, just largely speaking, has been the weak point of this roster compared to Season 1. So it's definitely some things to keep your eye on. On the other side, though, talking about Vengeance, you mentioned it. It's kind of a revenge against revenge tour here for Denza, getting kind of a separation from his initial team from Season 1. He's now joined by Wardy, Maple, and Weeman. And the biggest thing about this team is, at the beginning of the year, we continue to talk about Denza finds himself on another stint of revenge, hence the name Vengeance, but he actually has not had a great performance throughout this season. It's really been Wardy, the second SMG alongside Denza, that has carried a lot of the weight for this Vengeance roster.
And it's been such a change up because last season it was all the Denza show. Like, how many times did Denza come out of our mouth, within one map? Like, it felt like he was doing everything, 3 pieces. He was clutching up in S&Ds. And now he's kind of taken more of that backseat where it feels like maybe he's playing a little bit more objective oriented. And that's now allowed Wardy to shine. 1.3 overall KD. Wardy has been exceptional. I mean, he is a great pickup. And this is also someone, Alan, that we were talking about this morning. Like, he almost made a switch over to a totally different esport. And now he's like, listen, I still have a lot to prove. I still have a lot of potential here in Call of Duty. I'm here to prove it. And is he ever proving it with that KD ratio here so far? I mean, he has certainly been the standout on this team here in Stage 2.
Well, let's take a look to see how this Map 5 affair could potentially come to us. The biggest thing that we're looking at here is not only the fact that the Search and Destroyers could be critical to both teams in winning this series, but you also got to remember that both of these teams are actually very good at Control and Hardpoint, almost 1-for-1 win-loss ratios between the two of them. So it's interesting because we had mentioned it, just kind of teased over the fact that, hey, for Minnesota Rocker Academy, a lot of your Hardpoint wins have been on bigger maps. There is no smaller map than map number 1. So I think you kind of hit it on the head, asking the question, can medals really show up here on smaller maps where you expect there to be at least 2, if not maybe 3 SMGs? We need to see something from him here early on this Bacage Hardpoint.
I think you're right. We need to see medals, come out here, show us that he is still one of the great entry subs that we always talk about. And I mean, he's going to have to really prove that up against the likes of someone like Wardy, who can be just as aggressive, just as dominant. So I think that this is really will be a test, I think, coming into the very first match here with so much to prove here. And overall, I think for a lot of the series that we've seen from Rocker, they have gotten a lot of their comfort picks into their vetoes here for the series layouts. So I think that this will be a little bit more of a change up. I even like the Desert Siege coming in here for map number 2. This is a map that I think more and more teams are starting to explore after seeing it in pro play a little bit more, starting to figure out, okay, this is how we're actually going to approach this offensively or defensively. So I think this one will also be a really pivotal one in the series as both teams are looking for that S&D win as well.
Going to be interesting, but here we go. We're jumping right on into map number 1. We got the Hot Hands Lounge holding us tightly and warmly. Shane and John going to be hanging out with us, giving us the scenes over the course of the day. Pumped to have him, especially Mr. J Pros. We know that he sometimes comes across as very blasted in his pop culture references, but he's always on top of it when it comes to the camera angles. So pumped to see it, and let's get on in, man. I think we really get treated to a really tight affair here, not just because both these teams are evenly matched, but a lot of the things that we were kind of curious about. It really does feel like Vengeance has done their job and done their homework when it comes to where do we want to play this Rocker Academy team. Getting them on Bacage Hardpoint for map number 1, you have to know that this is going to be largely, again, those SMGs that we have to keep spotlighting.
Yeah, we have to talk about them, and I mean, we'll also see what Maple's going to be able to do here with the AR on this map. He's been one of the standouts after not really being talked about so far. He's at 2-0 already, controlling that entire left lane. You can see him at the top of the map, so this is at least good control here right off the rip. Wardy's already starting to get aggressive, keeping them pinned into the back of their spawn. 10 points will be on the board, and as long as you can do a bit of zoning here before P2, you're going to find yourself in a favorable position.
Great zone of control coming through for Vengeance, not only with the hard point, but also specifically with Wardy. Just continue to make a mess of Granny's house. That said, how about Minnesota Academy? They're able to walk right on through the middle of the map, finding 3 straight kills, forcing Maple to have to turn to the pistol. Gets enough damage to make the kill for Wee Man a little bit easier, but it's not convincing from either side as of yet. Second hard point yet to open. 3 seconds until it does, and there's going to be a 50-50 battle, not just for the hill itself, but mostly left side of the map. Who can get those back stable side spawns?
All right, Wee Man playing very passive. He should find a free pickup. It's just a matter of, can he find more than one? But no free pickup here for Real. He will read it. Luckily, Wardy right behind him does find a quick trade, but they're being overwhelmed. They can't really get any of their presence inside of the point. Maple has to pick up a sub, try to do a little bit of clearing here through the barn, and he's going to be able to find himself one. This does at least recover you a little bit here, but the spawn's in the back still, however, for Vengeance, and they can continue to put on the pressure here as there's 30 seconds left on the hill.
This is Maple, I believe, spawning in with an MP40, so we're getting at least one AR out of Wee Man. And to be fair, when we talk about Maple and his history as a competitive player, especially in the Modern Warfare year, there was that moment on Singularity where him and Insight were swapping back and forth between who ran the main AR and who picked up the extra sub. Largely by the end of the year, it was Maple who was running that extra SMG back in the day. So definitely familiar with it, but unsuccessful in the long run when it comes to locking down a majority of time there at the second hill. So we rotate to 3. You've got Minnesota Rocker Academy already in position to open up the hill. The one player they've missed, though, is Maple around the back, and Lucky now finds himself completely caught by his lonesome, and that was not good news as Vengeance will get a 4-man feed, and that'll lead to a break.
Yeah, you have to be a little bit careful here because now you can actually get pinned to the back, but on the minimap, none of those arrows are turning around, so they have no idea that Rocker is behind them. They should find out very quickly. It's not a big map, and you'll start to figure things out as Journey's going to be able to find that first one. So now that is going to signal them, but as it happens, all 4 players go down here. Vengeance just not aware of the spawns behind them whatsoever.
Yeah, that's a tough scene, and that's what you come to expect. I mean, as you mentioned, you may be able to figure out things very quickly, but the problem is once you figure it out, you feel like you're already 3 steps behind. So Rocker Academy, a break of their own, keeps this to about a level game. Last fight for the scrap, 13 seconds, leads to Journey and Metals trying to work this together. And, well, we asked the question, would Metals come to play with this SMG? He's absolutely provided an answer, 10 and 6, 3 in a row for him, and a major key to the breaks that Rocker Academy have found on the 2nd and 3rd hills, respectively.
Yeah, and you have to wonder now, is he going to be able to chain this into some streaks here? 4 in a row for him as Journey going to be able to clear out a bit of space. Metals on rotation has been able to find a couple more as well as he's right back in the time, but Wardy will be able to fly through, push him out, end that streak. One more battle in the back, and Maple is going to take it. So for a very brief moment, time starting to be accumulated now for the side of Vengeance. Wardy searching for kills off spawn, but you can see it, everyone for Rocker. They're waiting for the hit, one by one, through each and every doorway, but Maple reads it again as he's going on yet another spree. 2 kills, now 3 answered back, and Rocker, they can push through.
Denza now at 6 and 12. I mean, a lot of the focus that we've had statistically on him has come from the search and destroy, but not a great showing from him so far in the hard point, leading to another break for Rocker Academy. The last 3 hard points, Rocker have been unbelievable at being able to get in around the 30-second mark and make a mess of what looks to be solid setups for Vengeance. Real, slow start for him, really picking things up in the last 2 hills in particular, able to lock down the scrap time, and Rocker Academy use that to build their lead to above 10. This will mean that they're a little bit shorthanded on rotation, so Vengeance will get here towards the river first, and not only are they in the river hardpoint, they're all over the middle of the map, making a mess of this Rocker Academy rotation.
Oh, Wardy, he's been able to find 3 here, cutting off all the members trying to get to the back, and this slows down Rocker drastically. Finally, they deal with Wardy, but look at this, 20 seconds just went over here for free, and you still got Maple alive in the back, 16 and 6, 17 and 6, as 3 kills in a row come through there for Maple. Wee Man trying to just keep them off of the hard point, play a little bit of defense here, but this has been an incredible opening, and while this happens, Wardy again already igniting to the back here, trying to see if he can cut some members off.
Oh, he's cutting them up here, Austin. No butcher shop nearby, but he may need to open one up as he's able to cut down a handful of players, and that's going to lead to free scrap time again for Vengeance. Both teams really have been going just punch for punch. We're able to get a convincing setup. We get 20 seconds for free. Sure, there's a contest through the middle, but the plays for scrap time have been significant for both of these squads so far. So by the end of the first rotation, about a 25-point lead here for Vengeance as we get back over to Courtyard. Rocker fighting from inside the buildings across the middle of the map, while Vengeance is mostly looking to get around the back, and this has been read completely by Rocker Academy, and that will turn into a convincing kill feed, allowing Rocker to lock down these spawns and get some significant time here on the first hill.
Really high risk, high reward type of playstyle right there for the side of Vengeance. If they're pre-aiming and all of a sudden Rocker comes sprinting through, they likely find the kills and they get to the back for free. But because that doesn't happen, now you have Real that's able to backtrack and just make sure that this 50-yard line is completely safe from any kind of a rotation here for the side of Vengeance. But there's still 20 seconds left. We'll see if anyone can try to slip the net and get into the back. Journey will dive right on top of the time. Denza for an easy pickup, but Real, he's on 4 in a row, make it 5 in a row, working for some streaks, but Denza will be able to shut it down.
Oh boy, here we go. This is a big battle coming through towards the initial time of 2. Vengeance giving themselves a look. Metals is locking things down in the barnyard. He's got help to make sure that this rotation stays safe. There's the awareness call as Journey will fall. Metals looking to chase down Denza, and we'll be able to successfully find him and do so cleanly. Wardy from a multitude of different windows, continuing to find himself on the high ground doesn't make a difference. Good help coming through as Metals again gets credited with the elimination. But Vengeance have worked their way around into the back to make a little bit of pressure occur here for Rocker Academy, not just on the hill, but also towards those tin side spawns. One of which will be collected. Rocker Academy spawning together will have a chance to recontest, and as they do, they nullify the progress being made by Vengeance on the hill.
30 seconds left here. That's a big pickup on the Denza, and that might have just cleared enough room for you to get this, but what a snap there from Maple. Shooting a little different right now, and he's going to try to put on a bit of a push here to see if he can maybe fight for the remaining 15 seconds. Try to keep it scrappy. Denza's basically done it for him. A nice nade and a nice pickup with the MP40 allows Maple to move through, grab this scrap time. But this will mean that all 4 players for Rocker can start to rotate. Will Denza read the players in the back? It doesn't matter. He's cut off right through the middle of the map. And now it's all up to Wee Man to try to hold the line.
Oh, big 1v1 up top. That's a huge win for Metals. It establishes at least some sort of a setup around this third hard point from the interior, not having to necessarily worry about any high ground contest. Weeman with an AR is really kind of put into a tricky situation, but just walks forward, doesn't finish the kill, and Real turns on him. A little bit of help from beyond, but still, regardless, it's a double from Real, giving the Rocker Academy a chance to respond to this hit from Vengeance and largely deal with it. Wardy's the last player left alive, and Real off respawn gets here in time to deny him. Journey following up, and the kill feed convincing as Rocker Academy are able to work their way back in towards Grandy's house for more time.
Oh, Denzel is doing a bit of finessing, but it's not enough to be able to break from the side. So everyone here for Vengeance needs to flood through the back, and they will be able to get themselves inside of the hill. But Real puts on the pressure, finds two, a chance for a third. Denza's holding the pre-aim, but Real finds him as well. Ridiculous plays coming through from the sub here on Rocker Academy. And that's going to deny a good 10 seconds from Vengeance, just not allowing them to stack up as big of a lead as they might have had. But into the new hill we go here, Alan. It is a setup for Rocker. They have control of Barn, and they're starting to slay around it.
Well, this is interesting, though, because they haven't really cleared out lanes on this rotation, but Lucky's dealing with it from the top. Trying to get the reload off. Of course, all Vengeance knows where he's positioned, but it may not make much of a difference. He's able to get himself the regen plus the reload. A read onto Weeman as well. A little bit of difficulty locking down the gunfight, but it's help from the rest of Rocker Academy that shut down the play. Oh boy, Vengeance had a really good look to get in and kind of sneak to the front, but Lucky from the high ground deals with it in close quarters, and now he can get to work making sure the field stays safe, while the rest of the subs continue to work through the middle of the map, and they will full get the wipe, and it's Rocker Academy with 17 seconds of what looks to be some pretty free scrap time.
And it's little moments like that when you have the assault rifle that can really change up the game. You know, you can have an impact from the high ground like that. Lucky just cutting players off from either side lane, right through mid, just being annoying, being a nuisance, finding pickups, allowing his subs to be able to find these kills. And now you're starting to see what the subs are doing. Real now on 3 in a row. He's been able to find a couple of crucial kills on this rotation. Rocker will get the lead, and now it's up to Vengeance. They have to find a massive break.
Oh, this is looking really dangerous as Journey's able to find his 6th elimination, looking for the glide bomb. And at this point, with your teammates already kind of ruling the hill itself, play for information. Get this 7th kill pretty much at all costs. Playing a 1-for-1 corner. Denza sneaks around the back, and that may lead to an opportunity to get him essentially on a flank as well, and he does get the final shot. Glide bomb now earned for Rocker Academy as they blow the lid right on off Bakaj as they streak towards the 200-point threshold.
This is a big moment potentially here, Vengeance. They don't want to give another 20 seconds over. Rocker have basically locked down the first 40, but the glide here from Journey is going to make sure that at least 10 seconds of that won't go over for free, and Rocker are able to move back through with 2 members to get the remaining time. That is now going to be a significant lead for the side of Rocker Academy, up by 50 points, going into yet another reset, and Real, he's already threatening the spawns here.
And there's not a lot of game clock left either for Vengeance to make this comeback happen. So what we need to get at here as far as tallying up how this script comes to life for Vengeance is you have to make sure you're convincing, without reasonable doubt whatsoever, around the middle of the map. At least make sure you can get on for some time here at 1, and then you have to have a flawless setup for P2, because you cannot let any of this game clock just go away. But they do get some pretty good clearance through Barn. This is leading to kind of step 1 in a 3-step process. Here we go. It's 208, 169, 20 seconds till the fight for here in the courtyard. Minnesota will still spawn on the left side of the map, but Vengeance has a lot of ground to work with to contest this.
Yeah, I don't think they realized again that the spawns actually came through in the trench side. So Wardy tries to push forward, but he needed to back up. Maple will find a couple of kills here right through mid, maybe even a third. There it is. Maple has cleared so much space. In Vengeance, they've gotten about 30, 40 points off of this P1 hill, and they have members in the back here. The spawns have flipped. Now they just need to get over to the hill. They have a big gunfight up against Real. He has to play his life, and he's going to have to go big for Rocker.
About a 30-second difference between the two teams. There's only 33 seconds on the game clock as Rocker gets 3 straight eliminations, dominating a zone of control around the tanks. Here comes the break. Maple for the first elimination clears off the right side of the map. Wardy trying to clear up the middle. He's good for 1. He steps into Lucky. What in the heavens is that headshot? Vengeance are able to get the break. Rocker still spawning close, and well, this time Vengeance will not be caught off guard by these spawns. They are set up and ready for it.
Oh my, Wardy, if he gets that one, they're definitely winning this map, but look at what it does. They have so much time here to finesse. Maple, even if he goes down, they still can play for the rotation, and it looks like Rocker might secure the remaining 10 seconds on this hill, but it's all about the rotation of Grannies. So far, it feels like every single time Rocker has gotten a member to the very back and someone has taken a route through the tunnel system, this is going to come down to a perfect hold now for Vengeance.
Oh, but Wee Man, he knows that Lucky's nearby, able to avoid the potential nades, at least initially. But Real comes through. That's going to open up space around the back. 24 seconds of the game clock. Contested hill means that it's going to continue to fade away. Wardy, though, in the back looking for the double. Can only tally the first. Now on to Denza. 31 and 35. Has to come forward. 9 seconds between Rocker Academy and a map 1 win. And the SMGs are starting to find some success, but not largely enough. Now it's just down to the final 3 seconds. Lucky able to get a couple eliminations, but it's not convincing enough to lock down the spawns nor the hill. Finally, the return comes out, and Journey will put the nail in the coffin with the final double. A tight affair, but it's Rocker by 40 in map 1.
Rocker by 40. Vengeance just can't hold on there near the end. They're not able to get themselves back in. The spawns playing such a crucial role and playing such a massive job here in why Rocker are able to come out with the victory, Alan. We go back to just a couple of the routes. I feel like you really have to highlight Real. It's not like we haven't done that in the past, but I'm going to do it here again because he's able to find such impactful kills on those rotations. We always talk about those one-on-one gunfights, but sometimes Real's turning them into 2, 3 kills, all coming through on those rotations, which is guaranteeing your team the spawns to have the fast track to get into the hill first and wipe the opponents out over and over again, flood onto the map. I mean, they were doing an excellent job of that as we start to take a look at a lot of the replays here. But I mean, Rocker really clutching up, and it all started with that P5 hill in the second rotation.
Yes. Gosh, you're so brilliant and handsome. It really is. It's not even just the 5th. It's what they do on rotation from 4 to 5, and they never let Vengeance retake anything around Granny. So that's kind of like your staging point of the defense of that river hardpoint, right? So that really is the difference maker for me too, because they were able to find essentially, let's just say what it is. It was about 40 seconds worth of free time. And when you win the game by 40 seconds, yeah, you look at that moment and say that for sure was where Rocker Academy were able to take map number 1. But how about it, Austin? I mean, we talked largely about how Metals, specifically the Search and Destroy, we really wanted to see him pick things up. But 36 and 32, top damage on his team on a tight map where we only have largely seen Rocker Academy find success on maps like Berlin and Gavudu. This is brilliant news, I think, for Rocker Academy fans that are out there looking towards the future of what this team may be able to do in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think it's just also just a feels good map for Metals, knowing that you did a lot of the correct things, that you had a really good start, because this was a back and forth affair that Vengeance were actually kind of getting the better edge of, you know, throughout the very first half of this game. But Metals had that really strong opening performance to make sure that Rocker, you know, weren't losing out on 20, 30 points on the hill and getting a little too out of control to make some kind of a comeback happen, which they were eventually able to do. So yeah, really big shout out here to Metals. Journey has a slow start, able to pick things up here as well. You can see everyone getting very much involved in the assists across the board. I think this is what really makes this Rocker Academy team extremely strong, and they get to display it here, and they get to display it in one of the smaller maps as well, because that was one of the things we came in with, right, Alan? You know, you can't just rely on Lucky to come out here with an AR and do a lot of the slaying for you. You need the subs to step up. So the fact that you throw a different map in here against the 2nd seed currently, and you're fighting for the very 1st seed, I think is a great showing of this Rocker Academy roster here for the rest of the series.
And, you know, the interesting thing, just kind of going back to that same narrative of small versus large maps, the reason that it really stood out to us in the first place when we were setting up for this series was in season 1, Rocker Academy were great everywhere. I mean, they didn't have a losing record in Hardpoint. They're the best Hardpoint team in Europe in season 1. Not that they're not the best Hardpoint team this season. It's just in the venues that they've performed. Yes. I mean, like we had mentioned, 9 Hardpoint wins, now 10. And 8 of those wins have been on Berlin and Gavudu. They haven't even seen Tuscan a single time yet this stage. And in the moments that they had played Bacage in the past, sure, the games were tight, but they lost it yesterday versus GWR Signs, which I think kind of surprised a lot of people that not only did they lose that map, but they also lost that series.
I think so. I mean, that's a team that I don't think anyone really would have predicted the other way around, right? Like, I think everyone pretty much had Rocker probably winning that 3-0 for the most part with, you know, how strong they've shown in multiple game modes. But, I mean, sometimes it's those teams that can come out and surprise you, you know, right off the bat. I think that's a great example of what we get. It's a surprise. Rocker, okay, they realize that. And sometimes it's always a good thing that happens too, where it's like, okay, we got to make sure that we're also coming in here to every single match and we're focused, right? Like, let's not get complacent. We won season 1. That doesn't mean we're going to be guaranteed season 2. So sometimes it's that, you know, that little just kick that gives you enough of an edge to, you know, match up against a team like Vengeance and say, listen, I know you guys are trying to contest the first seed, but we're still the first seed, and you're not going to take this away from us. And they show that at least in the very first map. But I feel like this series gets really interesting because we already talked about the Bocage coming in, but now we're going into a Desert Siege, which we haven't seen a ton of here so much. And you have to imagine whenever a Desert Siege is thrown in, it's because teams have been able to put a little bit more practice into it, because it is one of the hardest maps I feel like right now in the rotation to be good at.
I think the biggest thing about where the difficulties come from is that you kind of have two options, an A or a B, in how you want to set yourself up, not just from the offensive standpoint, but I think more importantly from the defensive nature of this map. Because you've got University, the big set of building complexes in the middle, that is definitely a playground for SMGs defensively to get there first. So you can kind of set yourself up for easy rotations from A to B by holding the middle of the map. But at the same rate, of course, with how open the outsides are across not just the desert before you get to the B zone, but of course over towards the train yard at A, automatons and snipers are 100% an option. So it's kind of one of those things where I feel like you do need to kind of define what your identity is going to be like on this map. Are you going to try to zone things off from the defensive side by kind of touching and feeling and looking towards this more in a long-range battle where you're relying on your automatons and your snipers to gather information before your SMGs start to convert? Or are you going to try to play aggressively and maybe overwhelm the middle of the map and then be able to play rotation game to deny post plants afterwards? That's kind of the way that I've seen a lot of the CDL teams defer. Like, you get like London Royal Ravens. They play almost exclusively on the outside of the map, whereas teams like the LA Thieves almost exclusively play on the inside of the map. So I'm kind of curious to see just what these teams are going to bring identity-wise, because as you mentioned, not only have we not seen either of these two teams play this map a lot, but both teams are also kind of struggling in the search and destroy for the first place.
That's kind of the big factor. Like, we were looking at this saying, okay, if you can maybe grab some hard points off of Rocker, like that could be your window to take it. But overall, I feel like this one will likely come down to the S&Ds. I don't think this would be, you know, too big of a stretch to say that this very well could go to a potential game 5 here for us with the way that these two stack up against one another in the maps that we just kind of have on both sides. But I think that the S&Ds do determine, you know, who is potentially going to come out here. And that's when I think you're looking at players like Denza, like Wardy, to really step up and take a map off of Rocker, right? Like, that was what we talked about the entire first season was Denza just doing Denza things. And I don't think we had ever personally seen Denza perform on that kind of a level where he was just single-handedly winning maps, right? Like, he was making plays that were game-changing, that were leading towards multiple rounds. That doesn't happen extremely often here for us, and we haven't got that at least in season 2, but you could maybe look at players like Wardy, I think, to really step up and do that again, or at least if we get glimpses of it from Denza, that could be their window. But I mean, they're still very close when it comes down to their overall skill. And this is also a really new team here for Vengeance as well, right? Like, I think we have to throw that in. Like, they are coming together this season number 2, and they're already looking like a top squad. So it's going to make for a fantastic series, a fantastic map number 2. And well, speaking of map number 2, it looks like we are loading into Desert Siege.
Here's the numbers for those of you out there that are just KD hungry. Season 1, Denza had a 1.37 KD in search. This season so far, a couple of results have not been fully entered, but so far, 0.67. Less than half of the influence that he had in Season 1 has reared its head so far in Season 2. You have to feel like there is a bit of bewilderment around that. And of course, on the other side, we've already talked about Metals and his struggles, rocking a very similar KD of Denza so far. Maple, sniper rifle, gets information that the defense has aggressively made a move over towards the left side of A, so nades will start to come through looking for that first blood. Connection is there, but no kill. Real keeps his life, avoiding first blood.
All right, so what can Maple do with the sniper? I think last time we were watching over this Vengeance squad in the last week, Maple was making some nice plays happen, giving me some Modern Warfare vibes even. But this is all about what you're going to try to do on this A site. You need to open up with a pick. You need to get your bomb carrier to a spot where he's actually going to be able to drop this down safely. And it's all about dealing with Real. And he's got to try to come out with 1, maybe even 2, as he's in this nice little cheeky position.
The thing about it is he does not have a sub here, so he's going to have to react very quickly. Nade coming out. Weeman blocking off Journey from helping on this defensive play towards A. Still not in the ballpark or even in the same zip code as
What
Lucky.
a challenge.
Real does make good on the chow to Denza. So 3v3, bomb carrier down, and here comes the long flank from Lucky with only 27 seconds on the clock.
And Real backs up, so he's able to hold on to his life. He's got another little spot. I think he's hiding behind Wee Man, though. Another big battle. Takes down Metals. Maple, just responsible still, watching over his teammates. As they're going to have to grab the bomb. They got 14 seconds. They should be able to get this down, unless Real can come out here and maybe play spoiler. But it looks like it should be good. Lucky's in the back. What can he find? Takes a shot, but it does not hit the mark. Wee Man finds 3, looking for the ace as it's all up to Real.
Oh, it's just no exit there. Really interesting setup, I think, just largely defensively from Rocker Academy, because Real, who you expect to be rocking an SMG almost exclusively, has the automaton in an advanced position. And even though there really isn't an immediately capitalization for Vengeance, not off the initial snipe from Maple, nor off of the isolation of Real in the first place, it's the fact that Wee Man's able to actually get full clearance of University with the 2 opening eliminations, dealing with Metals, dealing with Lucky. So it's great news, or dealing with Dirty, pardon me, Lucky was sniping. Those 2 eliminations are key. Real never respond there, and Lucky, who was taking the long flank by way of scope, never gets involved. And as we jump on into round number 1 of the offense for Rocker Academy, they will find an opening first blood right in front of the B site, which will lead to a plant.
Journey, a little bit isolated. I don't know if he's going to be able to exit off this, but if he finds the kill and takes the challenge, who's worried about an exit? Journey's running forward as he's found 2. Maple desperately looking for a snipe. Does take down Lucky and turns it into a 1v3, but he's got no one around with him, and he's only got a sniper rifle.
Yeah, and just a litter of nades right on top of his head. 3 different frags land in succession, resulting in the kill. But what a play this is from the bomb carrier of Journey in the first place. To get forward, first blood was already tallied, so he says, okay, I've got clearance to get on, and then catches Wee Man cooking up a nade of his own, and then the follow-up just holds his ground, denies any post-plant retake whatsoever for Vengeance. So a convincing offense for Rocker Academy off of aggression leads to a 1-1, at least opening. Both offenses finding a lot of success, and it kind of bodes the question back defensively here of how do you want to manipulate this? For Rocker Academy, we saw what they did the last time. Lucky snipes outside B, and then it was a heavy 3-man focus over towards the A side. They've already changed that up. This time it's going to be Metals and Journey inside the University and around this middle map, just trying to deny any rotation space for Vengeance.
Real, he's certainly studied his little one-off spots, hasn't he? He's gotten shown us 3 of them so far. And as soon as you turn this corner, you're going to need to come out with 1, maybe 2. And Real's able to get it, but he cannot slip away. Maple, what a shot there. Able to take him down, all up to Lucky. Another 1v3. Vengeance just picking apart Rocker here on the defensive side. I think he maybe got a glimpse of Wardy, but Lucky not going to be able to spot him. Still yet to get a kill on the board. Let's see what he can do. Bomb's down.
In a good position to isolate here. Finds the first for free, but that is just Maple. But the reposition coming out. Dead silence and both grenades to work with. But how do you want to utilize this? Because you've lost a lot of time re-wrapping your re-wrap. It may allow, though, an opportunity to find Morty for free. Sees him through the woodwork of the back train car. Now 1v1. MP40 in hand. Lucky's got to go quickly. Still has not tossed any utility, so he's completely blind on where Wee Man is positioned, and it looks like Wee Man has put himself in a pretty favorable clutch-up position on the defensive side of the map, and that is indeed the case. How big has Wee Man been, though, on these offensive looks for Vengeance? Another huge first blood to the middle of the map, and then pushing through to allow his team a chance to get not just the plant, but also an advanced position to deny any kind of a clutch.
Yeah, I think all of his kills so far have all been on the attack, where he opened up with 3 the first round, gets 2 in that round, and he's been so massive, finding these openings, and he's doing it with an automaton. We even go back to when he was pushing into University with an AR. He's finding these engagements, he's winning these engagements, and it's just getting you so many advantages right now. But 2-1, switching sides again. Can we keep the offensive train going here for us in Desert Siege? Not what we typically see, but a chance to be able to make it go again. Snipers coming out far out to the left side of the trains here. Will be Lucky watching over this A site, and that's where the bomb's starting to make its way over to. Last time it was about B, this time it's about A, and they should be able to get this down if Journey sticks to the plant.
Yeah, there's good help from Metals over the top, and Real's just playing point of contact in mid-map. He's actually worked his way kind of sneaking forward, so he's on a little bit of a pinch here. Wardy, though, mid-map, gets completely unchecked, finds the first blood, immediately traded, but Denza here trying to pick up where he had left off and does so very successfully. So now a 3v2, favoring the defense. Information comes through as Wee Man's able to find Lucky on the cross. Makes good on it with elimination, leaving Real for what would have to be a 1v3. 23 seconds to try to defend this post plant. Wee Man goes prone, watching the cross and connects. Goodness, Wee Man, unbelievable. 4 in a row, now 7-1 as Vengeance take the first significant lead of the search.
My goodness, that was so close, but it feels like a lot of these rounds that are coming down to, you know, like the bomb going down, it's just a lot of individual engagements that are going over to Vengeance. They're winning it on the one-on-one battles, and they're exiting for free, so there's never a trade coming through on the other side for Rocker Academy, which is putting them into now what has been like how many 1v2, 1v3 situations here. So Vengeance have really just been taking, you know, all of it into account, and because of it, they're starting to work for these picks. They're up 3-1. You have Wee Man, who has been off to an incredible start, 7-1, 4 in a row, working towards a glide.
The thing about this, and we say this all the time, Austin, I feel like we're brothers from another mother when we talk about streaks. Do not change something that's already working for you just to play for this next 3 kills. Because honestly speaking, the 4 is impressive, but you're still a significant margin away from being able to earn this glide bomb due to the fact that we're in search and destroy. But this time, a little bit of a different look. Wardy is playing down low, just trying to make sure that this first floor stays clear. Defensively, that means that Rocker can only challenge from the high ground. And actually, Lucky has kind of gotten cold feet on this opening sniping play over towards B, so it's a free plant that comes through. Wardy makes sure that this mid-map stays completely in possession of Vengeance, which means that for Rocker Academy, you've got to find success off the flank, and it's getting denied. Wardy sees the backpack of Real, and it's looking like a flawless round unless Metals could do something here in the 1v4.
Yeah, it fails the jump, and I think it's Wardy there as well that also gets there for the final kill. I mean, Vengeance, they are playing picture perfect search and destroy. We wanted to see why Desert Siege was thrown into the rotation. Well, we're starting to find out. I mean, this has been exceptional rounds, and this one, you know, simply comes down to Wardy, not because of the kills that he's getting, but because of the position that he holds. This gives your team so much confidence to say, okay, we can get the bomb down, and we can exit all, or watch the exit of all the players coming off the A site. You just need to stay alive inside of B, and if you don't find value, that's fine, because you can flank so many different angles here. So, really nice play from Wardy, but now into what is going to be round number 6, Rocker Academy. They need to find an answer, and Real is starting to get very aggressive, and it's a first blood here from Lucky.
First time that Real's pulled the MP40 out so far, and I love this change of pace from Rocker Academy. They were getting bested mid-map almost every single round that we've seen so far. Lucky also dropping the scope means the whole team can play with a little bit more pace. Bomb in hand for Journey, looking to get over towards the A site. There is good help here, but Wardy is still contesting this mid-map position. The problem is, losing that first blood of Weeman, who's your main AR, you have no idea where anybody is playing through these long routes, and Metals has already gotten through the back. This should be a free kill, and it will be. Denza drops Maple long range, also dealt with, leaving Wardy now by himself. Takes the first, but the high ground position being held in the back means Rocker Academy could quickly capitalize and get the trade, bringing us back to within 2.
I like that. Just starting to find maybe a couple of holes here in the defensive setup, and they're able to get 2 members actually to the other side of the map on Desert Siege. Not easy to do when there was about 2 or 3 members for Vengeance up and alive, but Metals really initiates that play, gets that 2-piece there, gets the high ground, opens up the play. And Rocker Academy around, they absolutely needed, will be able to kind of keep them alive a little bit. 4-2 now is what we're going to see for the score line. So you want to be able to grab another, see if you can respond back to back, and they have a totally different response. This is a full retake on B, thinking the bomb could be going down. Weeman's going to lay in the trigger. He's going to get lots of info, but does not find any kills.
Good counters again, though, from Rocker Academy. Getting some extra pressure aggressively through mid-map. Denies Weeman his opening first blood. It's almost ritualistic in a way. He's always found first bloods through that top side of University, it feels like. But aggression, as Real has an MP40 again, means that Maple's going to have to hit something. And, oh, he's been seen. Lucky, you do not repeat this, Lucky. What?
Oh.
He may have not seen it. It looked like he got a good shoulder. And how about the shot for Maple for 2? Does he feel the hot hand to jump peek this for a 3rd? I thought he may have thought about it, but instead tries to play off the flank. And, oh, I believe he may have seen Journey. This would be a hat trick of snipes, but it's not necessary as the bomb gets planted for Vengeance today.
My goodness. The shots coming from Maple. Keeping this round alive. 30 seconds, though. Have to play for the defuse. Journey, not sure where he's getting shot from. A little bit puzzling. Will end up dropping before he even gets a shot back. But Metals, position going to be known. Maple with the scope again in hand. Should have been able to get a shoulder. Metals is going to have to try to push on the floor spree. Finds number 5. Will he turn? He will not turn. And Vengeance able to get the bomb down, take and steal away the round here from Rocker Academy and put themselves on map point.
Yeah, that is, wow. An unbelievable display from Maple, and literally it's the only way that they get back into the round in the first place. I'm still, again, just a little bit baffled that Lucky did not see Maple initially. Now, granted, he didn't have the scope up, so you don't get that bright flashlight pointing at you saying, okay, I see the sniper, Glenn, I know he's there, so maybe he was looking a different direction, but regardless, it looked like Maple was wide out in the open, and that's the reason that you throw that shoulder in the first place, is to see if anyone is actually crossing over towards A. So an impressive 2 shots from Maple, gets Vengeance the round, and what in the heavens is that from Wardy? Takes down Lucky at super long range, through some wood in the middle of the map, and an opportunity here for Vengeance to take a 6-2, pending they can clean up the last 3 members of Rocker.
Denza. And from behind, Metals is ready for it. And Metals finds the kill, and look at the position that he holds. He's not going to be safe here, but you're not going to have an easy retake over to the A site. But instead, Journey tries to bounce back over to B, and he will be absolutely punished for it. Wardy's able to find a pickup on the Journey. 3v2 now for Vengeance. 45 seconds on the clock. Real needs to find value, and Wardy is still alive, and Vengeance will pick apart Rocker once again. 6-2 closeout here on the Desert Siege.
Yeah, clean stuff, really from start to finish from the side of Vengeance. A lot of it, I really do kind of have to go back to Weeman in the opening 4 rounds, where he's able to clear out not just long crossing angles, both on the offensive and defensive side of the bomb, but most importantly, he's clearing out so much space in mid with an automaton. Now, to be fair, we were seeing Real playing with a defensive and offensive automaton in the first couple of rounds. That changed halfway through the search, and it started to lead towards at least some room to work with for Rocker Academy, but the isolation in the middle of the map for Vengeance really didn't have an answer since round 1 in this third search and destroy.
Yeah, I mean, he got Wardy, who's just going rogue, finding these positions, getting kills, getting out without any kind of a trade. And then on the other hand, you got Bobley Swagger over here from Shooter, who's just going off because Maple's not missing a shot. He's finding all kinds of ridiculous snipes, and it just feels like there is so much overwhelming you. Like, here's a great example. Like, what a read here. Maple, knowing the peak's going to come through, boom, finds the second. Just incredible stuff. Really working the map. Like, if there was ever a definition on how to work the map, like, that is how you do it. Just everyone felt like they were a part of just about every single play, and they were so decisive whenever they found kills, which is what you need to do on a Desert Siege with the way that map works. So incredible stuff that tied the series, and overall, you know, go back to our key to victories, right? You have to be able to find S&Ds, and so far they deliver on the first one.
And I will say this, talking about the 2 players that we spotlighted at the beginning of this series, or this map in particular for the search, Metals did provide improvement for Rocker Academy, where Denza fell a bit short, but the thing about it was Denza didn't need to find anything because Weeman and Wardy were literally doing it all for the squad. So that's just something to kind of carry through. If we do get to map 5, just kind of put that in the back of your memory for now. We'll revisit it. We'll pull it back out if we need it. But that all said, I do have to go to the fact that this Rocker Academy team does need to start figuring out what's happening on search, because there is not a comfortable map in the pool right now based off the group stage results that we've had in this season.
Yeah, I think that's been a bit of a problem, right? And it almost feels like when we were watching over them last week, Alan, like how big was Real in a lot of their search and destroys, where he was just getting big, massive kills and then getting it with his life, taking these risky plays through the middle of the map when we were watching over them on Berlin. Like, that was leading to a lot of their success. Essentially, the role that Wardy just played for his team is what we typically see out of Real, but when Real's not winning those engagements or getting out with his life after he finds a first blood or a second blood, that's when I think you start to see this Rocker Academy team struggle, because there was multiple times where they're put into 1v3s, and sure, they're almost clutching them, but the problem is you should never have to be in those situations, you know, 2, 3, 4 rounds in a row. That's when you're not going to be able to come up with your S&D wins. They're not playing off of each other. They're not really working for trades. They're hoping for like a lot of individual plays to essentially work out for them, and when that doesn't happen, you see this team struggle. So it's been a problem overall, but I think the good news is that you know, they've been more solid in respawn, and now we're going over to what is going to be another respawn onto a control. Both of these teams actually, I think, will match up and square up quite well for each other as we're going to be heading into the Tuscan.
Oh, the records are essentially 1-for-1s right here. 4-2 so far. The Rocker Academy were the 5-1 overall game mode win-loss for Vengeance persists us. But as we look over what's happened so far on Tuscan, both teams kind of very evenly matched. The only thing about this
Yeah.
is, I will say, for Rocker Academy, this is the map that they have largely preferred, whether it's been off of their map picks or just where they happen to find themselves. They're 4-1 on this map. So talking about the record that they bring into it, all of their wins have come by way of Tuscan control in this season. So that would have to maintain the course if Rocker Academy were to take the 2-1 advantage. But it's hard to look at that statistic going up against his Vengeance team and sit there and say, like, oh, because they're 4-1, Rocker Academy are going to win this map. No, that is no guarantee with this Vengeance squad, who also is obviously very good at control.
Yeah, very good at control. And I think the one thing that we've learned, at least about Rocker over the last couple of years, is like you can never really count these guys out. And I mean more the players, and obviously I mean the organization. Is, you know, the core three that we've mainly seen here, and more so even the duo between Metals and Lucky. Like, these guys have a lot of mental resilience. There's been too many times they've been, you know, 3-5 down in a map number 5 and they pull it back. They've been 0-2 down in the series that they reverse sweep. So I think that these guys are always really good at being able to bounce back, figure out their mistakes on the fly. And I mean, we even learned that throughout season 1, where they were willing to actually run back essentially the same series set going in towards their second best of 5, and they made a lot of those fixes on the fly here. So I think that today maybe might also be a bit of a test on how we do on some of the other maps here. But you also have to keep in the back of your mind, this first seed, really important. You want to be able to get it. You want to say, listen, we're the best coming into playoffs here. That does wonders for your confidence as well.
Absolutely the case. Big swing map coming through. We look over some of the leaderboards that we have kind of at our hands here when it comes to helping break down things. Here is your control leaderboard as far as overall KD is concerned. Wardy and Weeman have been really lights out. But how about Beans, bro? What in the heavens? 1.59 KD, 76% of his kills coming non-traded. That is an unbelievable tally. And even the KD is not super high for Weeman. He holds a 75% non-traded kill percentage. So the AR pressure that you're getting out of Vengeance is absolutely finding value when you look at that margin.
Oh, so much value. I mean, you really are seeing both sides of it, where Wardy's running the sub. He's getting right in there, finding these kills here for you. And then you have Weeman, who's always staying alive. Like, it's a perfect synergy. It's exactly what you kind of want within a team balance, I feel like, what you're trying to do. So that really does play a pretty important factor here for us. But we'll see exactly what else happens. And I mean, you bring up a really good point with Beans. And you know what the funny part about Beans is, Alan, is the fact that when he came into Cold War last year, we're like, who is Beans? Where is he? Like, where has he been? Like, that was the question that we had kind of, you know, phrased. And then all of a sudden it was the Beans takeover. Then he comes into this year, he gets a great squad right away. He gets picked up on this Ultra Academy roster that has a coach that has a lot of great infrastructure around it, and you can see him really flourish off of the back end of half of the season of Cold War. We had no idea even who Beans was.
Yeah. No, very true. And then for what it's worth, in case you're wondering, the EP10M is eliminations per 10 minutes, which is largely speaking around the length of a control period if you get all the way through 5 rounds. So you could really kind of label that as how many eliminations on average are they trying to pull for almost an entire map of control. It's a weird stat, but it's one that I still think you find some value off of there as far as how much elimination pressure are they actually putting on the map overall. So those are your top 5 in control in at least the EU region. And man, it's wild to me because, look, the thing too, why I think the non-traded kill percentage and the eliminations per 10 minute stat is very valuable is the fact that we're still determining how you win this map based off kills in the first place. Like, until we start seeing tick progression coming through, it's one of those that I think the value of being able to find just general kills, it's hard to really put like a numerical value on it, like to sit there and say like this is how you're able to win maps. But when you see individuals putting up that kind of pressure, you start to be able to kind of maybe focus your lens on where are the advantages coming through in a mode that largely, like, I think a lot of the audience looks at it and says, hey, you know, it is what it is until round 5. I don't think that's necessarily true. I think the amount of value that you're getting from kills from start to finish is helping build narrow margins of success for these teams. And for these two in particular, that's why you get the records that you get on control for both of them.
Yeah, I think that you bring up a really important point that a lot of the community kind of disregards, because it's really easy to look at, okay, round number 5, this one decides it all, who has defense? But there's also a bit of a story before that on how did you get the defense, right? And that comes with slaying. And I think that we're seeing a lot of the, you know, top control players right now really kind of find this groove that allows them to be able to just find these takeover moments where they find 2, 3, 4 kills in a row. They stop push after push. Just finding a two-piece in control can quite literally stuff an entire team push for the next 30 seconds because you have to wait for everyone to respawn, everyone to regroup, clear out everything from your spawn. It can be really taxing at times. So I think that teams that obviously are able to find these moments where they can get into positions, just slay, keep their life, it becomes very valuable here for us. And that's why I think we've seen at least some of the top teams have these crazy KD players, part of the roster because they're able to take over. But it should be interesting. We'll see if we'll get some more of that coming in towards, what is going to be a Tuscan, because we know both these teams obviously play extremely well. We've already framed that up here for us, Alan, but this also is going to come down to who's also prepped for each other a little bit better, who's going to be practicing and getting themselves into spots where they're going to be able to close out, specifically offenses. And what are you going to have new for us? Because we've seen a lot of creative things come through in Challengers that's been able to spark a lot of different conversations.
Agreed. And I got a little coffee brain. I think I said eliminations per minute. That's engagements per minute. So it's not just tallying how many eliminations you're finding, but obviously it's part of the equation, but also assists. And then also, of course, it kind of attributes how many deaths that you have. So that's the average amount of engagement that we're seeing over the course of 10 minutes. So apologies there. Need more of the bean juice to get me going. That said, hey, I think we're pretty close to getting going here and this Tuscan control. And, look, yeah, I think, in certain terms, we can kind of glaze over the fact that this match is essentially just a seeding match, if you want to call it. But the thing about it is these two teams are not unfamiliar with one another, and I think there's a proving point that is to be established by these two squads, because they played each other in the winter semifinals of Cup 7, in which Rocker Academy was able to take down Vengeance. So not only are Rocker Academy coming off of a loss, a surprising loss to Signs, but Vengeance is still kind of in the hunt of proving themselves as a consistent and dominant top 2 team in the region.
I think that it's also extremely important. You already know you've lost to these guys once, and you have to bounce back in what is really the big deal matchup, right? Like, we know they're playing for the pro points, they're playing for money when they're doing the cups, but I think a huge part of that really is just the practice for the elites, so that you can get yourself to a point where you're obviously winning a much larger chunk of money if you're able to make the playoff run happen. And I think it's just also it's like a mental thing too. Like, once you're able to overcome them, especially near the end of the season, like going into playoffs when you match up against them again, it's like, okay, well, we've already beat them. We just need to do it again. So I think that also plays a pretty important factor here for us. We didn't get to see the map pool, at least from when they faced off against each other, in the cup. I'd be interested to see what it was, because it feels like we've gotten some different maps in. You never know how that little veto system plays out. It's like, okay, well, we know they're really good here. They smacked us down. Let's just not worry about that whatsoever. But I mean, at least for Control, there's not really a whole lot of maps that you're going to be able to pick from. So I'm sure they're probably going to have a decent amount of reps here for us. But I mean, once we get into it, it should be a really good look, and we'll see kind of what happens. But I believe we're going to take a little bit of a break. The players they're getting ready, Alan. They're getting charged up. They're just as amped as we are, so we got to make sure they're coming in calm, cool, and collected. So I think for a very quick moment, guys, we're going to throw to a short little break. When we come back, game number 3 coming up next.
Welcome back, everybody. We are jumping straight on in. Map number 3, Tuscan Control. A tied affair so far, as both teams very significantly great when it comes to the control. Looking for a very important map number 3 and what is largely going to be considered a battle for the first seed going into playoffs.
Yeah,
I will shift with me Visions, and, well, the opening engagement here for Vengeance clean, as they've already taken down 2 ticks of progress worth at A, and Denza's making a heck of a route start to occur here through mid-map.
This is what we like to see Denza do. Get annoying, get into the back here. He might get some bad timing. I'm surprised no one from Rocker saw him a little earlier there, but might have just got himself behind cover. However, that's still enough to likely bring this in. A well on its way. Wardy already working towards some early progress here at the start of B, and he's going to be all alone, at least for the time being. His teammates are trying to get to him. He's unable to win that one-on-one, but at least there's already an extra minute of time here for Vengeance.
I love that little kind of poke and play strategy right there from Vengeance as well, where you get a couple of kills, focus on towards Church, and Wardy can kind of sneak and maybe get platform control, but it gets denied. Rocker very good at recovering lost ground, as you're starting to be aware of that immediately as P5 is completely engulfed in purple. But with that said, on the opposite side of the map, Vengeance has found some significant pressure through the back. Journey looking to, again, re-clear, but Denza making a mess of this with Maple, and that's actually going to lead to what will surely be some significant control, not just of the backside, but also where you're going to force Rocker to spawn. Thing about it is, Vengeance really not making great use of this ground gain, at least not at the moment.
Yeah, but they are finding a lot of kills here so far. They're starting to slay out. 15 lives remaining here for the side of Rocker Academy, but they have not been able to touch the zone, as Real will be able to take out Wee Man here. Automaton in hand, 3 in a row. Will be able to keep this potentially going, as Journey now finds his very first kill after a really slow start. And Real is going to keep that trigger locked on P5 to see if he might be able to deal with a couple more members here. There's number 4. There's the push there from Denza. We'll be able to shut down the spree, but there's a minute left on the clock. Vengeance still struggling to really battle through the front here and actually get on the zone.
Oh, that's a huge elimination on the Journey, though. I was about to say this is a heads-up play from Denza to track back and make sure they keep high ground control so nobody can rotate through Church on this pathway over towards Radio. Denza not done. 9 and 2, 3 in a row. 45 seconds on the clock, though, so as much as Vengeance has done well killing off the lives, Rocker simultaneously is actually doing a nice job of keeping off the clock. That said, lives continue to be the more poignant problem, as Rocker's down to a 15v7. Vengeance already set up, and the nades have not connected as of yet. Denza on 4 will help secure the first tick of progress at B. Now the nades starting to come through, looking like it could allow Rocker a chance to at least push back some of these members, and they have successfully, at least for now, kept Denza off the point.
Oh, any kills here are huge. Now there are no lives remaining. So Rocker, they have to be perfect. They have to find a clean wipe here without losing too many of their own lives, and they might have a shot at being able to clutch this up. Vengeance, they're going to have to go. 18 seconds on the clock. Wardy has just taken down Metals, but Lucky gets a trade back. So a brief 3 versus 3 as Lucky's going to come all the way around the outside, but Wardy finds 2. Wee Man gets the 3rd. It's all to Real. He's able to find the first one, but can't find any more. And Vengeance, they play a beautiful opening round here on the attack.
And let's just talk again about why this is successful. It's the moments that you start to see not just Vengeance getting through and into the back of the spawn, but that little play that we got showcased by Denza tracking back. Even though the kills are in front of them, they don't just push through and get onto the zone and essentially sacrifice lives. You have to keep convincing control around the point. Allow your offensive reinforcements to have an avenue to get to you. So Denza tracking back, clearing out Radio, and then finding that immaculate second elimination topside Church, largely for me is every reason why Vengeance is allowing themselves a chance to get back towards B, because the clock was very favorable for Rocker, even though they were down live. So we swap the turn, go back in now to Rocker on their first attack, and even though there's some pressure here from the defense over the top of this back block, the kills are not significant enough, and Rocker are going to be able to at least secure 1 tick of progress for now.
Oh, but the flank just came through on the mini-map there from player 2. Wardy again, just getting into the back line, being annoying. You can say the same thing about Real, however. He's still just dancing around Church. Oh, he's going to be able to snap on Wee Man, and that's going to be multiple members down at the same time here. Starting to lose out on a lot of lives at this very moment, but Denza, big answer back, able to take down 2 before falling. This still should be the A zone going over, but at least no one from Rocker makes their way over to B.
Another massive set of kills from Denza. His position through the middle of the Church, if he loses that gunfight, Rocker don't just get A. They've got 2 players either in your backline or on the B zone. So a massive recovery for the defense, even though they're going to forfeit the extra 60 seconds here. Rocker also maintaining a pretty significant life lead at 4 at the moment. Creates a couple of problems here for Vengeance, as they do need to make sure that they keep their spawn safe. And at the moment, no one's even hunting down these players in the back. They just want to zone off the Rocker spawns themselves. So it's kind of a battle here of who can create the most amount of spawn pressure pushing through the map.
And let's see if they can finally deal with him. Denza's going to take up some shots, but it looks like he's able to maneuver out. He's got some great assistance down low with him now. Wee Man also there for some kind of a response, but will not be able to keep his life. So down by 6 is going to be Vengeance. Real there for another 2-piece with plenty of time to work with, but Metals realizes his position. He's got a great grip on the spawns, but Wee Man with the challenge will be able to find him there with the help of the grenades. They'll get themselves into the back here. They'll retake control of their side of the map, and now they can move through and deplete that first tick of progress.
They're not able to take control over the middle of the map, though. So for Rocker Academy, I think you're largely okay with this current status. Now, that said, Rocker does not know that Vengeance have not pushed forward in any instance of the map. They are hard bunkered up. And the nade, whoa, okay, that's actually a brilliant piece from Metals. He tosses that from in and around P5, lands, but Wee Man immediately able to respond with an impressive elimination of his zone. But here come the Rocker on over towards the B zone, trying to stall up the clock. Even exchange of kills thus far, but Wee Man still alive, had 1 HP, and apparently that may be all he needs. He does enough to at least clear the progress on the B zone and allow a chance the defense to come on back as we slip underneath 60 seconds to play in the round.
All right, 7 playing up against 12 in favor of Rocker. 50 seconds on the board. Denza looking for a pinch play here through mid, or rather reading one, as he'll take down Journey. 2 players now eliminated on the side of Rocker Academy, and I like this. Denza backs all the way up, regroups with this team. They know they're low on lives. They can't afford to throw away any for free. But Wardy might have been able to push through, can't find that elimination. So now Rocker down to 30 seconds. They have 1, maybe 2 pushes left, and they're going to have to make this one count.
Has to be efficient. Throw away the lives. This is a 4v4 for the round, essentially. Real from topside windows gets on. Stalls the clock! Oh, Journey nearly lines up 3, but the counter nades come through, resulting in what will be a 2v2 for the time. Lucky still needs to hurt this clock, and he's not able to really successfully do this as he needs help to at least stay alive. Tracking him down as Denza. Kills are coming through cleanly. 4v5, 10 seconds. And it looks like Rocker is going to hit the brakes. They may not even have a chance to really fully touch this as a group of 4. Real thinking about trying to streak forward to touch, but as Metals falls, so will Real. And the defense should largely stand unless Journey could do something miraculous. It will not unfold here. Vengeance go up 2-0 with a very significant last-second defense.
Yeah, I'm extremely impressed with the discipline right now from Vengeance. I mean, we know a lot of Tuscan control comes down to what does the player do that's hitting the pinch. But there you can see from Vengeance there, and at least in the last minute of play, they were never interested in sending any members to create that pinch play because they knew how important holding their lives were. So it was all about regrouping back. But the problem is that Rocker don't know that. So they have to always dedicate one of their members to watching the pinch when you have 4 members from Vengeance fighting from the front. And until you realize it, it's almost a little too late because of their overwhelming pressure. So I love that play coming through here for the side of Vengeance, and now they really want to top it off. Little cherry on top here for us as they're going to 4-man rush it right over to B. Denza finds one up top. Can he find the second? There should be a trade that comes in the Riz, and this might be good for a tick.
And the thing about this is, look at Wee Man. He's going to move forward to help stack this. They're looking for progress, not zone of control here. And as Wee Man falls, Vorty will also drop, meaning that the first tick of progress does not fully get concluded. Denza looking to make some more magic happen, denied. And that's actually a really clean feed for Rocker Academy. Not only did they stop the progress at B, look how far forward they are in the middle of the map. 3 down means Rocker moved quickly, and with that, they've actually stalled any stray members from getting onto A. This is a very convincing defense for Rocker at the moment.
Yeah, it's a little bit scary right now. Vengeance, they need to be able to find kills. They have to recover very quickly. Journey also waiting on the staircase. Big battle, but Wardy will win it. 2 in a row there for Wardy. Denza finds another. No, it is Denza take this one as well. And Lucky will not give him the opportunity. Has to go for the reload. So this is looking good still for Rocker Academy. No ticks of progress have come through, but finally there's a touch, and Wardy might have just opened up the play on his force spree, just cutting down all the Rocker members.
But he's not going to fully slip through. Journey finds some good timing, making sure the streak is denied. Denza could really only do this play through patio. There's really not much else that he could be asked to do in that situation. And as Rocker Academy are able to, once again, convincingly clear off the B zone, they're looking for more mid-map pressure to get around and maybe try to stall out some exits from this A zone, which looks that inevitably it will be found in Vengeance. Denza shot at from behind a couple of different times. Once again, denying the route, our Rocker Academy. And that gives them just a small advantage at the moment. It'll be a minute 35 on the clock and a 2-life lead for Rocker to try to get back in this control.
Lucky has just been relentless right through mid. And he almost finds another one there on the Wee Man who's holding the pre-aim. Wee Man, though, will be able to make sure A is secured. So you have a minute 20 left. You have 12 lives playing up against 15. So you're down just slightly. So you're going to have to make things happen fairly quickly. Wee Man's going to try to bust right into Church. Player behind him, I guess, did not see him. And that means that he's going to be able to walk all the way to his teammates here. So now it's all about the break, right through P5. If they can find a clean wipe, they can get onto the zone. But this has been constant kills coming through here for Rocker.
Oh, and this is great news for Rocker. It's a full 4-man feed. Journey's now looking to take away space, and big gunfight win off the Maple. That puts significant establishment of pressure over towards the top side of Fire. Lucky, who's got an advanced position in P5, has some help from Metals nearby and also Journey. So this really isn't a viable route for Vengeance, and you can see they are very aware of that. Orty and Denza say, no, not interested. You guys can have that. But the problem is, as much as there is, heavy defensive pressure through P5, Real is in an unknown position inside of you, and that means for Vengeance that there is not a route anywhere. They've tallied this correctly. It's not exactly what I would call the most attractive ending to a round, but Vengeance, technically speaking, have played this 100% perfectly when it comes to reading what's happening on the map and not giving away anything for free. So it's going to be a 2-1, a 6-life advantage here in round number 3 for Rocker Academy, but the big news here for Vengeance is you've already done your job winning an offense. All you have to do here is take this round 4 defense, and you're cruising into a 2-1 map count.
That's right. That's all you got to do, Alan. You just got to win one more. Hopefully it doesn't come down to a round number 5, because that's a pretty big lead there for the side of Rocker, at least out of that round. And if they can have a really good round number 4 here and a chance to maybe even take the entire thing, they might be able to get defense here for round 5, but it's all about the response. Last time, that was the cleanest round we've seen so far defensively. Rocker set up beautifully to counter that B strat, make sure there was no ticks of progress coming over right off the bat, and then they also stopped them from getting onto A for a very long time. So we'll see if Vengeance can try to replicate a similar strategy coming into the round number 4, as you got a couple of sprees also to keep your eye on. Journey comes off of a hot 3-piece there through mid. We'll see if he can keep this going, as he's right on top of the time, already working towards the first tick.
Where this first blood occurs for Real actually puts some question into Vengeance's. Is this actually an A hit, or are they trying to make their play through mid and P5 to get to B? So the defense actually cannot contest this A zone, not initially at least. A couple of responsive kills. Now gets a look for Vengeance to retake the middle of the map and put at least some retake consideration towards A. Further established by Maple as he makes his play through long, and has help from Wee Man watching over the top of an automaton. So it's 1 tick of progress at A, but look at the long plays from Vengeance. Not just over through the back, but you also got Denza on the flank. He's going to be able to find at least one for free, and now completely caught off guard is Metals. Clean kill feed coming out in Vengeance. They have dominated this defensive recovery at the A zone.
And this forces the hand of Real here, who's got a big 1-on-1 versus Maple, but Maple knows he touched the zone. He's close and nearby. Maple's like, are they coming to me? Where is he? And he finds him down low. Won't be ready for the second, gets caught on reload, but that should be easy cleanup here for Wardy, who might have to go for a little bit of a run to try to track that player down. But while this happens, you can take a look on the minimap. This has now opened up A. This should be a couple of ticks coming in here for the full zone. I think everyone here for Vengeance realizes, okay, we're going to concede that one. We're going to deplete the tick on B. We're going to completely set ourselves up here. But Lucky's got a big 1-on-1 in the back, and he's not ready for it. Wee Man takes him down, and along go 2 more members at the worst possible time, because they can contest the zone, and it's all up the Metals, and the Wardy's nade will be able to find him.
Look, it's not just the kill from Wee Man, it's also the fact that Maple finds value to completely clear off P5, so Vengeance get the confidence with 2 down that we can hit this A zone, and they deplete the entire 3rd tick of progress, now putting a lot of dire situations into the minds of the Rocker Academy, who are down to 20 seconds with the time. Wardy on 3 in a row, gets number 4, trying to clean up the middle of the map, but everyone gets slowed to a crawl as concussions and frags start to come through defensively from Vengeance. Rocker Academy desperately looking to get onto a zone, and they've actually found a route to get over towards B. 7.9 on the clock. Wardy still contesting over towards Church, and it all results on this stack from Rocker. They have to take the B zone.
They need this. 7.9 seconds on the clock, but they have to look at so many entryways into the point. Lucky needs to find a big moment. It's not going to happen. But good news here for Rocker. They still have presence on A. But the problem is you're not going to have a lot of lives, and you're not going to have a lot of time. Only down to 7. And Wardy's here to spoil another play here. A couple kills come through. Now down to 5 as the A zone is secured.
Wee Man looking for the exit. Difficult battle with Real, but still comes out on top of it. 14 playing up against 4. This is still doable. One clean wipe around the B zone could lead to a 2 to 3 man stack for what needs to just be one tick of progress. That's the win condition here for Rocker without question. Lucky sliding over, sees some information that defensive players are indeed on the B zone. Nades come through, but neither will connect. Wardy stays safe from that, at least initially. Real's follow-up is good. Journey with elimination. Hold on a second. There's only 2 defensive players that are here. The stack is coming through. Denza gets taken down, so does Wee Man, and the stack will allow Rocker to stay alive. You thought for a second that the 4-man hit with 17 seconds left towards B, indeed successful. It gets cut a touch short. Denza with an incredible defensive play. But the nades and the pinch coming through for Rocker is exactly what they need to send this to round 5.
My goodness. I mean, I can't believe that even happens. That is a round where you had 4 lives up against 13. But when you can stack the zone like that, it doesn't matter how many lives you have. You just need to find one clean wipe. My goodness, not enough time to break that one down because we're already into round number 5, but it is going to be yet another attacking round here for the side of Rocker. We'll see if Vengeance try to clean things up a tad bit more, tad bit better, as Real finds another one here at the start of the round, right through the middle of the map. There is already progress being made on the A zone. Metal's just waiting patiently for a peek. He's going to be able to get info, but he's got players all over him. Metal's there for 3 in a row. Has been able to hold the line at the front of A.
And he got tags onto Maple, who eventually gets dealt with by a nade from Real. So this is going to be Rocker able to get a couple of members on towards A, but look at the play, making a move all the way through the church side, but maybe they left a little bit too soon. Counter nade from Denza takes off what was the only Rocker member on the A zone initially, so it forces Real back. He will confirm the first tick of progress. Brilliant read onto Wardy, but he's taken down so heavily that one last stun from Wee Man will completely re-clear out the zone. One tick of progress confirmed. Vengeance defensively, though, in the middle of the map, and they hold a 2-life lead with 45 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, we don't want to see another situation where you have to make a super clutch play to be able to win. You want a clean feed right here, and Real is trying to do good by it. Finds one through mid, and now is going to wrap all the way back behind A. Clear out some space from the front, give them time to start creating some progress here, and I think that should do it. All the white members on the map have been cleared off of the A zone, so now all of them going to start to set up at B. Real already thinking about making some early moves to the back, but it will not happen. So Rocker, they're going to have about a minute 30 here, unless Vengeance are thinking about trying to make a push happen, but I think that kill on a Maple should solidify the extra minute.
Bottom of the map, 3 and 8, just walked right by one each other a couple of different times. So Wee Man does eventually figure out that Real was trying to reshingle the roofs, and Wee Man, my goodness, an impressive double. He has been huge in this round, by the way. 27 to 26 overall, but a huge byproduct of why that defense at A stayed as stalwart as it did. Wardy still putting some persistence over the course of the recently completed A zone. But careful here. Vengeance are getting a little bit dicey with how spread out around the map they are, and we know what that could mean for Rocker Academy. Looking to set up a full hit, largely through P5. The late lurk from Real is going to try to make a long flank happen, but you have to find success from the front first. And as they trade, that is not going to be enough to make this play happen. Vengeance still from the high ground can continue to contest, and boy, will they.
Yeah, a lot of what you have to do is that player that flanks has to kind of regroup to the top of radio and get you over there so that they can hold your hands and get you outside of P5. That hasn't happened. They also deal with Real on top of the point, and now look at Vengeance. They're starting to just run through the map, but that's a big pickup there for Lucky. 38 seconds now left on the clock, but are they going to expect the second pitch? Wardy, he could spoil the whole play.
He's just sitting in P5, and he finds a long-range shot on the metals, and Lucky, who is still cooking an aid. Alongside him is Wee Man. The last 2 Rocker Academy players positioned in and around the B zone, but they have to find individual kills. They need to do it cleanly. Oh, it's a big win from Journey, but he gets a little bit too caught up on the staircase, could not get away with his life. So now Real on 2 HP, desperately hoping for help, and none is there to happen. Now it's on to Metals. From the top, looking for the double. Denza denies. Lucky around the back. A desperate play. Trying to clear off space to get his teammates or at least himself on. 2.1 is where it stalls. 3 lives, now down to 2. Lucky, maybe the last hope, can only find the single kill on the zone. Vengeance eventually overwhelm. It takes 5 rounds, but a competitive control from start to finish sees Vengeance take it and now put themselves up 2-1 in the series.
Well, there's one thing we were right about, Alan, coming in. This one is a good series, man. So back and forth. What was looking like a potential 3-0 here for the side of Vengeance is not the case whatsoever. And guess what? We get a big performance coming through here for Denza, Alan. He puts up a massive 40 bomb. We wanted to see a couple of these players that haven't necessarily been living up to what we saw throughout the very first season come alive, come out and show us what they're capable of doing. And they're starting to do that here for us. A lot of massive plays, I feel like, from the subs. Even Wee Man at times finding just ridiculous multi-kills to be able to just loosen up so much more of the map here for this team, and that just does wonders here for you. But I mean, there were so many moments that you could look back on that, you know, made or break the game in a way where you see the first few rounds, great from Vengeance, right? They have the opening offense, it's fantastic. They have the defense, it's fairly clean, but it starts to get a little dicey when we get into those round 3s, those round 4s. That's where things become a little bit more unpredictable.
It's just, for me, the difference maker in this one is not necessarily the start that Vengeance have, but it's this guy. It's Denza, man. So many moments that came through for Vengeance, both defensively and also, most importantly, on their opening attack, came by way of Denza opening the door. He may not have been the person getting the glory when it comes to winning those final fights, securing the last bit of progress needed, but a couple of cheeky doubles or a kill and get out of dodge allowed Vengeance so much time and space to run up to the zone. And then Wee Man in the end, that round 5, I'll say Wee Man came through in the thick of it. But look at the tally for Denza. Not just the 40 and 31, but Homie just went 5,100 damage, Austin. We don't see that all that often. 731 damage per round? Put a leash on him. Are you kidding me?
That's looking like some Black Ops 4 damage when Stim was in the game, right? Like 5k damage plus. Like, that is so much. I mean, Denza just outputting a ridiculous amount of work here. I mean, you're seeing it just time and time again, every single round. And I mean, this is what we needed to see from Denza. He hasn't been in the same form that we saw in season 1, and being able to come out here, I feel like does wonders here for you. Having this combination of Wardy and Denza combined with Maple, bringing out the AR at times and being a lot more consistent throughout this stage has made for a totally different team. And this Vengeance team, they are certainly putting Rocker to the test. I mean, we're going into a map number 4. They are leading it. They have the shot to be able to just completely take this first seed, find and overcome this win versus Rocker Academy. And every single member is stepping up to do it here so far in the series. I think that is the best part about it. It's not just the Denza show, Alan. It's everyone doing it at times here so far through the first 3 maps.
Yeah, I'm telling you, dude. Both of these two teams, not only are they both incredible at control, but it really kind of goes to show you where the bar is set for control at a large. Because the thing that's really been fun about this series, and all of you at home that are watching it, really challenge you to kind of recognize the moments when a team has kind of faltered or hit a moment where there's an obstacle they need to hurdle, and they kind of have to take the step back, recover, set themselves up, position yourself to find the most successful opportunity off of a loss that you possibly could. And in the midst of all of those rounds, you saw moments where it's like, oh, Rocker Academy, they have nothing to work with here. How do you set yourself back up in that offense to eventually give you that late run chance at round 4 to get the offensive win? It's just so much fun to see the decisions that are being made by both of these teams. And with that all said, the reason that I bring it up in the first place is we are going to very evidentially get that here on map number 4. It's a Berlin Hardpoint, one of the more rotated favor maps that we have currently in the map pool. And I think you're going to be really seeing multiple exhibits of when you lose in one area, how do you set yourself up to win with whatever's coming up next? Whether that's you lose on a break attempt, how do you most sufficiently set yourself up for an upcoming hold, or vice versa? I'm really interested, I think, just to see how these two teams fare on this map. Not only because Rocker Academy are great at it, but, you know, not to go too long on this, but Vengeance just smoked Sucre's Bakery here yesterday.
Yeah, they did. And I mean, this will also be another good look at what Wee Man and Maple bring to the table here, and how that matchup is going to go up against, Lucky and Metals. I think this will be a really nice test of, okay, what are the ARs bringing to the table? We've seen Wardy, we've seen Denza create a lot of room, but now it's time for the ARs to create space for these subs to be able to get into fire, get annoying, get aggressive, see if you can push out, create these flanks through bottom secret and whatnot. So I'm looking at a lot of what could end up taking place here, at least within the AR battle here between both of these guys, because I think Wee Man was fantastic in that last map. He was winning a lot of gunfights that you wouldn't normally expect an AR to win up close and personal on a Tuscan control. And we've seen Maple, who was also, I feel like, stepped up. I mean, we saw him on the Bocage. Like, he had an incredible map number 1 here for us. So can he bring some of that now into a Berlin where you just want to close things out? The best thing, or rather the most important thing playing up against Rocker Academy in my eyes, is closing out the series. Do not give them an opportunity at getting to a map number 5. I know you guys might be comfortable right now, sitting good at 2-1, but close it out versus Rocker Academy. Don't let them live on. Do not let them readjust and get to a map 5.
Bro, this is all that needs to be said. And I think all of the Famosers and all of the Spanish faithful that come out to support Rocker Academy will remember this from Season 1. The rule of thumb was do not play Rocker Academy on Berlin anything.
True.
Not Hardpoint, not Search and Destroy. And don't warm up against them on a free-for-all on the map or something. Just stay away from it. It's been bad juju playing Rocker Academy on this map. Now, that said, it's not been nearly as potent as it was in Season 1 as it is here in Season 2. But I still think there's something to be said about the familiarity and the comfort that a Rocker Academy is going to bring to this map set. So, for all of you out there maybe chewing on fingernails, sitting very far forward on the edge of your seat, thinking, will Rocker Academy be able to put themselves back into the mix of this? They've got their 2 best maps historically across Challengers Elite in front of them to potentially do it. I'm pumped for it. I want to see these decisions. I'm feeling, I don't know if it's because the coffee's starting to kick in a little bit, if I'm getting a little jittery, but I'm just pumped about it, Austin. I'm pumped.
I am too. I'm just, I mean, like, we're just like blessed to like such an incredible matchup. Like, these two are right now, like, they're looking like the best teams right now in Europe. So when they're going head to head like this and they're playing each other so close, so tight, it makes for such a fun series. And we just want to get into it, man. We want to see the next one. How's this one going to go? Is it going to be historically Rocker going the distance, you know, never being able to actually put them down easily, ending it all off at a map number 5? Would I be surprised? No. But I think that it would also just be massive looks here if Vengeance are able to come through and get the job done on the hard point and just close it out, especially if you're able to do it on one of their best map mode combinations here, Alan. I mean, like, that speaks wonders heading into towards playoffs as the first seed.
Well, let's take a look while we have a minute to spin things over towards how the Hardpoint leaderboard has looked at the moment. And I mean, this is the biggest thing you see. Again, those top 2 really that we've largely been forced to talk about. Wardy, of course, we've already mentioned. He has been lights out in the Hardpoint. But, you know, both of us, and I think you could say the same thing with Infinity and Proper, we all have really, really been excited to watch what Real could do going into this year. Mm-hmm. He has provided. Even though, I mean, again, the MVP for us, I think last season was indefinitely lucky. He had put together really just overall lights out statistics, and it helped his team win a number of different situations. But Real has been right there in the midst really since day one, right? I mean, we saw this kid minute 1, day 1 in his first ever Challengers appearance, and we're like, yo, this kid is the truth. It just, if he can find a way to work with the team, he could potentially be CDL bound, and obviously being paired up with the Minnesota Rocker as their academy roster, it kind of helps elevate those storylines to potential ceilings beyond.
It sure does. And I mean, we were like questioning it because Real is also extremely young. Like, he has had, I think, some experience playing in some LAN events and things like this, but he's still very new to the scene, it feels like, for the most part. And you now have, you know, players like Lucky and Metals that have just had so much built-in synergy and that have been playing together for a very long time, mind you, be able to teach you a lot about the game. I feel like that is always the perfect storm when a new player enters into a team that already has natural synergy. It's about fitting in, and he has been the perfect piece to the puzzle to make sure that this team has been able to excel and get to a ridiculous point here. But you're seeing it there in the stats. We'll see if he can bring some more of it coming in towards the Berlin, where subs maybe don't always find the most favorite, but sometimes you get on a roll. Sometimes you find some movement and you're able to get yourself into positions where, again, you could just be that annoying thorn in their side that's able to cut down a lot of the rotations. And that is a huge part of Berlin, where you have to go a very long ways to be able to influence spawns into the back. And when you got an annoying sub like Real cutting you down, or like Wardy on the other side, which has kind of been the normal battle here so far, it can be really difficult to do so, and sometimes you don't really find yourself in a favorable position.
In my mind right now, I'm thinking of these two teams, which, by the way, I want to say they actually played this map against one another in playoffs during Season 1. But regardless, I remember in 2 highlight moments that we had featured, like with top plays, where Real had gotten around the back of a key P3 that needed to come their way, and he found like 4 in a row cleanly. And then I remember Denza also reading spawns like an absolute mastermind.
Oh, yeah.
And turning it into what was like 12 in a row. So when you talk about potential SMG presence, it's not just the fact that it can be difficult at times to find that value because of how open the map feels at times. The biggest thing and why we continue to highlight these players is not just how the value comes through for them on a regular basis, but it's where the routes are that they're taking to set themselves up for greatness. So that's why I'm really kind of interested in the decision making for both of these two teams. When do you chalk something and try to hit a rotation versus when do you want to try to play an overwhelm for some what could be key scrap time? We'll consider as we get into it. It will be the side of Vengeance, though. Spawning on the side to get them to P1 first, and Denza already on a flank, but he only finds one. Keeps the play for Rocker Academy on the break open as Real is able to find the first eliminations, but the re-hit comes out for Wardy, and that'll be Vengeance dominating the early time here in the first hill.
I love that. I mean, as much as Denza doesn't find a crazy 3-piece at the start, he gets his teammates all the information needed that they're all pinned down low. Push them, pinch them. That's exactly what Vengeance do. A great opening start here coming from the favorite side. We'll be able to get themselves a good 30 seconds. Might be able to come away with 20 more. Rocker's push is being shut down. One last play here from Metal to try to make something happen, but it's lucky there for 2, and that will at least secure just a tad bit of the scrap time on P1.
I couldn't care less about the scrap time. What I care about here is the fact that not only does Lucky find 2, what it allows is Rocker Academy to zone off this rotation. So it's a key win inside the old time, sure, but it forces the ability for Rocker Academy, the last 3 members that just come off respawn, to hard focus on this rotation. So it's not just 9 seconds of scrap, it's the opening 15 of initial. But Wardy looking to re-break and almost do it single-handedly, and he has 3 kills straight. And just when I was about to continue to praise Rocker Academy on their setup, it's Wardy who single-handedly foils it! What in the heavens? 9-1 for Wardy, 5 in a row! Vengeance, a dominating grip over this second hill.
Oh, man. I mean, Wardy's shooting through, like, little cracks in the boards right now. He's finding kills, and Wardy's keeping it going. He's shooting his gun, waiting for the next one to run into his sights, but instead it comes from his 6. However, it is still an opening for Vengeance to try to move through, maybe fight for a bit of this time. Ultimately, we'll go over to Rocker Academy, but you look at the rotation, you look across the map. This is what we talked about, and those are already key gunfights coming through here for Rocker as they're pressing into the back.
Look, it's again, I love the decision here from Rocker. You don't just get the scrap. The kills come through so quickly. You're actually stopping Vengeance from getting a full setup. They're all fighting for spawns right now, and the kills are just not here. It's a 4-for-1 exchange. Rocker now with convincing numbers to play inside a lobby, but maybe it's Denza's turn to do something special with the sub. Or maybe not. Gets cut down immediately upon being asked upon, and now it's Metals on 5 in a row, keeping safe the entry through fire.
Metals might have found number 6. Shots here through the window. Won't be able to finish off the kills. Position going to be known, but he will reposition himself completely. Raining down from above. There's number 6. Metals looking for 7, but Denzo won't give him the glide. So they're able to shut down the spree. But while all of this happens, Rocker, they have been able to rack up so much time. Wardy's going to try to at least stop some of that from happening and taking place. Lucky from behind will find an easy pickup with the help of Metals. He's able to contest maybe about 5 seconds or so, but it's Rocker Academy. They have the lead. They have been excellent with the breaks, and now we'll see if they can break again as we head over to the new hill.
The chess game between these two teams in this scrap finesse time in the first 3 hard points has been exquisite to watch. But Vengeance kind of pulling a play out of the Rocker Academy's book. They finessed the scrap time out of Wardy, and now they're set up for P4. Real along the back really wants this gunfight versus Maple, but really doesn't get a clean look at it. So even though his teammates are able to credit him the assist, the kills coming through for Vengeance are actually pretty good, at least until Lucky completely beams Wardy. That'll neutralize the time, but it does flip the spawns around. Rocker Academy now from the back, but Wee Man really coming to life here, 3 in a row. Has a good look on the rotational cross over through Warehouse. Now turning attention back down to the middle. It's 4 straight for Wee Man. Kind of just playing conductor up here up top. And his journey gets figured out. Wee Man says, all right, give me the information, give me the call, let me get some hardpoint time as well. We've got ourselves a dead even game, essentially.
We sure do. Vengeance going to have just a marginal lead coming in towards P5, but this was, I think, really good recovery on their end. This could have been brutal. Rocker could have gotten to the back. It doesn't happen. Now what can Wardy do? Wardy might be able to line up too. He sees the second, he challenges, and Wardy finds it. 17-7 now, Automaton. MP40 does not matter. Just give this man a weapon in his hands, and he will slay, he will fry. But will they be able to clear off the member up top here? As Wardy's looking for kill number 5. It's going to be up against Real, who's playing his life, waiting for his teammates to come off spawn. They're all looking to try to run through mid to see if they can get this time, but all of it's going neutral, and Wardy is still keeping his life.
Both teams are just looking for that one advantage to maybe have a chance to either definitively hold the left side of the map or potentially convincingly get through to contest those left side spawns. 20 seconds to play on the 5th hard point. Wardy, again, looking for streaks on 5. Misses it. Metals able to shut down once again. So many players have been close to getting that glide bomb, but none have been able to convert on it as of yet. But with the eliminations coming through in relatively convincing fashion, Vengeance will secure the scrap time, while Rocker, again, taking a punch on the chin, will set themselves up to try to shell-shock Vengeance with a stalwart defense here on 1.
All right, so we look through the resets, and, well, I was thinking it was going to be the ARs that we're going to have to put up the big battle to keep Vengeance in this. No, instead, it's Wardy and 19 and 9. But you are going to need some more assistance here from the rest of the members right now. Maple, Weeman, Denza. Someone's going to have to step up and help the man. As we look at the break now for P1, it's been locked down here for Rocker Academy, but the pinch is looking good. Everyone floods through. Weeman's going to find the entries, and Maple's already on the pinch, putting pressure on the spawners. Tough gunfight here versus Real. Won't be able to find it, but it's Vengeance inside of the time.
Decision time for Rocker. Do you want to try to hit P1 or play the rotation? Currently, they're giving us an example of both. Metals is all the way around the back, while the rest of Rocker Academy is trying to hit this from the front, and they're finding success until Maple swaps over to the pistol, cleans up the scrap time, but look at the spawn situation. Vengeance spawning close to P1. Know there's someone already deep, and Weeman's the one trusted to go hunt down and try to find this kill on the Metals. But Metals is tucked in a corner. He will reveal himself while finding a kill on Wardy. But Weeman's essentially trying to play the same long con that Metals was. And while this all unfolds, this little battle to see who finds who first, it's actually going to be Rocker Academy who get the SMGs in and can start finding some time on the second hardpoint. How does Riel not finish that kill?
He still got him somehow. I don't know how he turns and gets him there with the final bullet, but he stopped shooting. Thought he took him down. Not the case. Now Metals through the middle. Only able to come up with one. Denza there. 2 in the feed. Back to back. And Real's going to be able to cut him down. So an early rotation looks to be the call here potentially for Rocker, but instead, one last hit. Real snaps on yet another here. Weeman's going to drop. Real's taking players down through the wall without even seeing them, and it sets it up so well for Metals to break inside of the point. Fight here for 10 seconds as Metals is still finding kill after kill. It's finally Maple that shuts them down with the rotation. It is on lock. It is secured. And Rocker Academy, they need this hill to get back into the game.
Remember that moment if Rocker Academy come back in this game here in this next hard point. You finesse and win the scrap time at 2, and you're set up perfectly for 3, or are they? Wardy just walks in from the first hardpoint by Courtyard while the battle outside for spawns continues to rage, and Vengeance, they take down 4 straight. Wardy around the back, it just has to find 1 kill, and then Weeman single-handedly wins the crane side of docks. And it's gone from bad to worse. Vengeance now in a convincing hold around the middle of the map. Wardy just continuing to find whatever weapons he can to deal damage. Denza picking up where he had left off, and it's a double. Vengeance now looking to get above the 200-point threshold as the scrap time will be guaranteed theirs.
I just love how everyone's on the same page right now. All right, Wardy dies. Denza's like, okay, I'm up next. I play the pinch player. And they're able to get here for 35 seconds. Vengeance now have a ridiculous lead. And Weeman, he is already on the move. He's going to wait for this kill. The new hill just spawned. He's looking for 2. He's not going to be able to find it. But it was still a good attempt here from Weeman. But his teammates now making their way across the map. And Weeman, he spawns right in the back here. Everyone for the side of Vengeance. They can come through with a break. Rocker, they need to have a hold here. There's still 40 seconds left on the point.
But Metals has read this. He's kind of gatekeeping these backside spawns. He actually traps Weeman in the back for a moment. He can still hit this little pinch as you start to recognize that Vengeance is on a play over through the train station, and the kills are coming through. Metals now on 4. A little bit of a calm starts to come across this 4th hardpoint as Vengeance has to make the choice now. Do you set up for 5? Do you try to block off exit kills? You're not going to get here for the 20 seconds of scrap time. Surely not. And you really need to deal with Metals, and no one can. The help across the middle of the map is significant until Weeman finally is able to lock down Metals up top, but it's a huge hold for Rocker Academy right back into this game.
They needed 40 seconds. They get 40 seconds. Down by 17 now. New hill about to pop. Metals taking a route. And will he be able to break in? It's Maple on the time first. Looking for players in the back. Denza will be able to finesse for the second. No way. And now Wardy finds 2. The worst time to go 4 down. Wardy takes down 3. Oh, Vengeance, they're starting to take control. This has been, what, 6, 7 consecutive kills, and that kill feed it is lighting up white. But another one. Denza for 4 in a row. Wardy for 4 in a row. The subs, they're taking over the map.
And just, that is it. That's literally it. Look where number 6 and number 8 were. They were both individually just finessing their lives on the left side of the map. That's going to give Vengeance the spawns. And the whole time, the ARs are like, bro, all right, fine. We'll take this free time. And it very well could come to a close here. Rocker Academy have to do something undeniable. At least they're able to shut down streaks, so it's a bit of a breathing point. But the problem is, you don't have much time to collect your breath. You've got to get over to the first hard point. Real surviving for longer than I think he was initially thinking he would. Leads to Journey now looking to follow up. But with an automaton, what can you really do from here? Well, apparently you can just find a kill and walk in. This is, again, Vengeance trying to set up for pinch plays, but Lucky's on the back. This is going to be a break for Rocker Academy. 10 seconds between Vengeance and a win, but they have to re-break, still holding the preferred spawns.
Vengeance, they cannot choke this. They have to play it patient enough to try to hit multiple angles at the same time, but Lucky is still alive. Inside of the hill, finds another one. Wardy on the pinch is going to take down Journey, and now they can threaten the hill. But can they break inside? Gunfights still have to be won as they search for Wardy. Wardy for another in the back, but can't get to the hill. It's all to one. Lucky is still somehow alive inside of the hard point. In Rocker Academy, they are holding on. It's a late rotation, and these gunfights are going to make or break the game.
The thing about this is Rocker Academy cannot get into a spot to stop these long surrounding routes from Vengeance, so they can hit this from multiple angles. They're also not successfully taking down Vengeance members off this cross, so an opportunity for Vengeance to set themselves up for a break attempt. Real, if there was ever a moment to go big, it would be right here, but he can't do too much. 240, 242. As we get to the mailroom, Lucky waiting for some help, and very wisely does as Journey's able to get himself involved. Neutral goes the hard point. Lucky still trying to finesse, has to be forced to go downstairs. 248, Rocker Academy shut down from the doorways, and it's Vengeance getting revenge again from cup number 7. They take a 9-point lead, and with that, a 3-1 series. They will lead into the playoffs as the number 1 seed from Europe.
Oh, what a series, man. Vengeance just pouring it all out. Able to get the victory up against Rocker Academy, 250 to 241. It gets pretty dicey there for us in the end. Rocker, they make a great argument for trying to make that comeback happen, but Vengeance, they'll have none of it. A couple of key kills coming through in the end there, finding the 2-piece there from Morty, a couple more individual gunfights to get the full wipe, but I think we were both thinking for a second there, brother, all right, this might go to a map number 5. They were doing all of the right things, but not having the close spawn in the back definitely hurt them there in the end, as it was an absolute bloodbath there. Battled the entire way through. 37 kills also come through there for Wardy. I mean, he was on a different level. He very well might be one of the hardest kills right now in Europe with the way that he's playing Allen. I mean, he has just found a ridiculous amount of value.
It's 2 moments for me that you kind of have to think back to. The first, the most recent, was Wardy and Denza through the 5th hard point, playing in fire and backside P1 courtyard individually, both going on 5+ sprees. Cut short of streaks, but they single-handedly allowed Vengeance way more than 9 seconds with a hard point time on 5th hard point. And then the second before that is that key moment that I kind of mentioned. Keep this moment in the back of your mind. If Rocker Academy can make that stretch happen where they lock down the scrap at 3 and get them into a good position towards 4, that's how a comeback could come through. They were cut short of being able to do that, but they turn around the next rotation and flawlessly nearly hold that 4th hill to give themselves a chance to get back into the game. What an affair between these two teams. It's not just the fact that they're evenly matched, it's the fact that both of these two teams are showcasing an elite level of Vanguard Call of Duty right now. And I mean that not just across challengers, but also into what we normally see in the CDL. That is an unbelievable affair, and both teams are definitely setting themselves up for positions as the 1 and 2 seeds going into playoffs that we very well could see these guys again, probably at the very late stages of the tournament if you get right.
Yeah, I think that very well could happen here for us, Alan. I mean, 2 of the top in Europe just going head-to-head, just brawls, battles, man. This was just so fun to watch the entire way through. And I think we also, have to relay back to our point we made about Denza here. We got the Wardy show. We know he's been performing well with a 1.3 KD, right? He has been one of the standouts on the roster, but we were questioning whether or not Denza could live up to that same performance, and I feel like he really did. I mean, he had a slow start in this map as well, where I think he was like 6-11, 6-12 at one point in time. Finishes that map, 28-27. I called it out through the first rotation. It was Wardy that was basically leading the charge at 20 kills. The rest of his teammates were about 1.5 or rather 0.5 KDs coming through. So they were not participating a whole lot, but you get it there from them in the end. Everyone again stepping up here. I mean, this team has been so fun to watch. They have been so exceptional, and I honestly did not think they were going to come out this strong with the way that they just put together the roster, but they are now the #1 seed. They just took down the season 1 champions, and you have to start praising this team and talking about them a hell of a lot more because they are showing up and they are giving us some incredible gameplay.
Man. I had to check the calendar for a second to make sure we weren't in playoffs already, because that felt like the energy and expectation that we would come to expect from a grand finals. And I kind of already threw my chips into that pot, saying this very well may be a rematch if they do get back to the grand finals against one another.
Yeah,
I think we'll definitely see more tight affairs there. That said, though, somehow we're only through our first series of the day. I mean, goodness, we're being treated to one. But we've got a very, very interesting affair coming up next, because Doge Nation and Sukri's Bakery are not comfortably in towards playoffs. In fact, it's a win and in situation coming through. Just to kind of tease on it a little bit, Visions. I mean, Doge Nation, they've won the last 2 matches they had yesterday. They needed to win them. If they beat Sukri's Bakery, they will hold the head-to-head tiebreaker versus all of the other teams in that same grouping. So we've got the breakdown, the setup coming up. As soon as we get ready with our players, we'll step away for a brief break and be back in for our second and final group match in Season 2 of EU right after this. Austin, I don't know what we did to deserve that first series, but let's just start counting our stars and blessings because, my goodness, what an affair we just came off of watching Rocker Academy. Unfortunately, not quite be able to best vengeance, but hey, it's in the name of the team itself. You come to expect crazy things when Denza's on board. Wardy, unbelievable. But with that, we've established our number 1 and number 2 seeds going into playoffs. That was never a question as far as which would be, getting into playoffs. Now, all of a sudden, we start to question who gets in as the number 4. Sukari's Bakery are currently positioned in the 4th spot, but Doge Nation riding a bit of a hot streak. If they find a way to win today, Austin, they will be our number 4 team in playoffs.
Yeah, they very well could be. And it's so insane because I don't think that there's ever been a team that came into week number 2 0-4 and then actually got into playoffs, right? This very well could actually happen here. They came off of what was a beautiful couple of maps yesterday, or rather a couple of series. Now they just need to do it again, but up against Sukari's Bakery. And as we take a look at the map set here for our series layout, it should be an interesting one, right? Because we talked a lot about, okay, Sukari's Bakery, they're our 2-3-5 team here in Europe. They're very vulnerable when it comes down to their hard points. That's where you're going to have to capitalize here. And while kicking it off, we got a Gavutu to come right in with the first map.
This is interesting because, as you had mentioned, and the key point to this series is Sukari's Bakery. They are 7-20 overall since the beginning of Season 1 in Hardpoint. So for Doge Nation, you know where you should be able to win this series. It's got to be the 1 and the 4. The thing that's questionable, though, about what Doge Nation have, well, maybe not shown, is their ability to close out any map mode combo when it's tight. 3 round 11s, all 4 of their Hardpoint losses that they come in were losses within 35 points. So that's where we're really questioning, is Doge Nation playoff worthy? Well, you have to be able to close out maps that are tight, whether it be Hardpoint, Search, or of course, third map is Control. So, interesting.
But here we go. Big one here. Both of these squads looking to get that last playoff spot. 2-0 here on Gavutu. Hardpoint is Doge Nation. Can they keep that going here as they're going to be on top of the hard point? Henry's here with a sub 2-0 start. We'll be able to potentially find some more kills. Yakko takes 1. We'll take 2. 1 also being one of his teammates. And Henry gets some bad timing as Sukari gets into the back here. And that very well might be the scrap time going over as we look at the rotations for P2.
Oh, it'll be the scrap time, says Yakko. 4 in a row. He makes sure of it. Doge Nation now kind of defaulting to having to play for the second hard point, and they do shut down the threat of an imminent streak. Super, though, still, oh my goodness, how good is that from Super? Now to the pistol, he's able to catch Henry with nothing in his hand, but essentially a knife, it looked like. BB Connor able to at least keep some contests coming through, but Super, an impressive moment, allowing a chance for Sukari's Bakery to at least try to 50-50 fight for the ship for at least a small time.
We talked a lot about Super being one of the standouts here for Sukari's Bakery. Insane stat lines, and we're starting to see why already, but this is going to have to be a big response now coming through onto the point. Whaler's the last one really left alive as his teammates come off spawn, and he's able to come up with 2, maybe even a 3rd, but he sets it up for his teammates to likely finish off those kills as he is still picking off players all around the point. Whalers is just finessing every single entry, every single exit. 20 seconds to play for. Whalers will end up dropping as Super comes back through with a triple. Ridiculous shots, almost all 4.
What a star-studded display we've seen in those last couple of moments between Super to Whalers, back to Super again. It's just, oh man, this is going to be a good one. Scrap time will be given up, conceded, which means Doge Nation will get this for free. But look at the setup on the minimap for Sukari's Bakery. Lanes and zones of control all up and around this hard point. Now, that said, oh, that's tough. I was going to say, BB Connor's in a position to try to come and help this hit, but he falls off the ship, and that will actually mean he breaks his ankle so badly he'll fall to his death. But the player on the back is still successful for Doge Nation to block the spawns. But can you get through Sukari? Maybe, only for a small time. BB Connor, last to survive, and the spawns will stay in favor of Doge Nation, but Eric, the last player left for Sukari's Bakery, will hold on to the hard point.
It's a terrifying position here for Doge Nation. They're at least able to take 1 off the time here. A nice ball bang for Whalers will stop time going over to the other side. Henry's going to try to push all the way out through the front, but you still have kills being responded with. An off-screen Super has just found a big kill for scrap time. So look at the yellow members on your map right now. They are pinned inside of green. They have no way to get to the ship. You already have a player in the next hill. Like, this is quite the turnaround for a team that has not won a Gavutu Hardpoint. Sukari's Bakery now going to be up massively.
It's literally a single kill away from Doge Nation finding that wrap around the back and it turning into significant hardpoint time and a chance to contest over towards rotation. But because of the play out of Eric to stay alive and finding a couple of kills, it now means that Sucre's Bakery is, again, in a very significantly forward position defensively around this fourth hill. But Doge Nation, almost a copy-paste of how they broke through 3. They're working around the back, and the kills are so good. Super on 3 in a row has nowhere to go but down, and now Sucre's Bakery in a bit of a trepidatious situation where they're under threat of being spawn-trapped in the back of 4.
Yeah, they are very well potentially going to get spawn trapped back here. We're going to have to start to rotate through the beach, one of the two. But they are pinned in the back. You're seeing the nades just come flooding out of spawn, just hoping to try to regain some of this map control for yourself. But I will say, Doge Nation able to get here for at least the remaining 30 seconds means that they're able to cut this down to 50 points as more kills there come through for Henry. Even another team kill for Super. So we move again across the map. This time it's Doge Nation, though, that have the chance to be able to zone all of the members off of Sucre's Bakery. Let's see how much time they're able to get.
You have to be careful here, though, with how far BB Connor is. If number 5 and Whalers loses a gunfight, it may lead to an immediate flip, but Whalers isn't losing any gunfights. Nope, not at all. Not even really. I will say there was a bit of a question as he was taken down to 4 HP, but the question was convincingly answered by the double out of Whalers. So now Sucre's Bakery spawning essentially at ult completely. Have to get through multiple lines of defense for Doge Nation around this 5th hill, and Abuse is just sitting here soaking up literally every second worth of hill time to his name at the moment. BB Connor still even putting some consideration over the middle of the map means that with only 15 seconds, look at Doge Nation. They could sit there and say, all right, we've got job done. You've got a teammate that spawns with you. Let's get ourselves set up for P1. This has been an unbelievable display out of Doge Nation.
That was a perfect hold. I mean, like, I don't even think they got to look at the hardpoint, let alone step inside of it. Like, that is a full 60. Doge Nation, they were down 50 seconds, and now BB Connor says it's time to take a marginal lead here over top of Sucre's Bakery as he's posted up top inside of ring. 3 in a row here for him. Automaton in his hand. Shots coming through on the remaining players here as you need a break, but BB Connor still clicks on to yet another head. 4 in a row. Looking for 5. Shots come through, and he's got his teammates watching over top of him. I mean, this is just perfect hardpoint here. No one's able to battle from the low ground, and you still have ship control. I mean, Doge Nation, this has been a consecutive 90 points in a row.
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth. Perfection was the word that I was going to go to, but I mean, I think everybody who's watching knows that. Because as you mentioned, the last 90 seconds have been literally flawless. The only thing you could really chastise Doge Nation for here is the fact that no one's earned streaks. But I mean, let's be honest.
What the heck?
No
go streaks yet?
Yeah, what are they doing? Like, come on. How's nobody dropped the V2 yet? What are we doing? The Sucre's Bakery not going to go away. They're able to break through for scrap, and they do deal with a couple of members up top at the ship. So if there was a chance for them to recontest and get themselves back onto their winning ways, it would have to be right here. But the thing about it is, even with this pressure that they've started to kind of find from both sides of the ship, they're not able to get on for hardpoint time. At least not as of yet, but the final kills that come through will alleviate that problem. And now Yako is the player to be worried about on the flank.
Let's see what Yako can do here from this position. Gets caught on the mantle. AR is just kind of posting up, waiting for some of those mistakes to come through on Sucre's Bakery, and they all flood through at the exact same time. So now a lot of difficulty for Super to try and recover here for his team. Sub in hand, finds one, snaps onto the second. That was for 5 straight kills, and Sucre is now able to clean up the 3rd remaining member on top of the hard point. So this is also good time going over. Sucre's Bakery going to be able to cut this lead down, but let's see what Doge Nation do differently as they're already zoning out from the front, but a big kill comes through here for Super.
There's literally nothing that Super can't do. He has been unbelievable, and there was a number of moments in Season 1 where a lot of the success that Sucre's Bakery had was because of this guy right here. Obviously taking a lesson learned from this past weekend, getting on top of the outside of the ring to try to get an angle over down towards P3. And Yako, who's actually snuck forward, may have had a look, but now Henry just playing the long pinch. Oh my goodness! What? No! Surely not! Quick weapon swap, and then the headshot into Sucre. Look at the read, just trying to finesse and, well, let's call it what it is, kind of use himself as a bit of a, I don't even know, like a little gopher up and over, poking his head out here and there, and BB Connor just, oh gosh, it's just, what, I don't even have the words to explain what we just witnessed in the last 60 seconds.
Oh man, the dominance, that's what's coming through right now. I mean, oh, Sucre's Bakery, they're in another position where they have to come up with a ridiculous amount of time to even stay in the game. Like, it just feels like this entire new rotation that's come through here for us has all been Doge. And they're just winning gunfight after gunfight, and now they get to take a breath as they clear out the first hit. But Doge Nation, they're quick on the response. Abuser from the front will also end up dropping. So a couple of staggered members actually starting to come through here, dropping one by one. That's the individual gunfights that we've been missing that finally do come through. So Sukri's Bakery, now with a new position from Sukri, or rather just on the ledge of it, we'll be able to kind of watch over the entire middle of the map. And no one from Doge Nation has actually been able to touch the hill, and there's still 30 seconds left here. This has been great so far for Sukri's Bakery.
And this is another one of those moments for Doge Nation that's very difficult to make a decision of, do we want to play for scrap? Do we want to play for the rotation? They've committed to the scrap, and they can still put themselves within marginal points of winning the map here. But what do they forfeit while making this choice? They forfeit the P5 spawns. So even though they're going to be really close to winning this game, Sukri's Bakery really just needs one solid hold. And look at Eric Boom. He's realizing that I can't just sit on this hard point. I've got to put myself forward and zone off these members of Doge Nation so they don't feel comfortable hitting this from the top side of ship. But it may be out of his hands. He just has to play a one-for-one corner here. You have to hope that you get some good help coming from beyond, and he may not need it. Eric Boom around the back. Good double. Stops Doge Nation from getting into the hard point for now, but there is still a threat on the way as BB Connor slides forward. Not going to win the first gunfight, but Abusa does, and that will be 2:50 on the clock. A brilliant break from Doge to win the first map.
The ability from Doge Nation, not just on this hill, but multiple hills, just to set up, wait at the front of the point. The challenges come through, and they just beam the opposing players off of all the power positions to be able to allow them to flood in there. I don't know how many hills it happened at, but there were so many times where they were just taking these challenges head on, winning out on the battles, and then once you take those challenges, you're coming off of spawn, and they're able to flood right through, and then they hold it. That is really the big factor.
Yeah.
We saw so many hills where they were getting full 60s, and there were not enough breaks to come through on the opposite side here for Sukri's Bakery. There's a reason that they do not have a strong hardpoint record, and we're just seeing why. But there were just also a ridiculous amount of like highlight clips that came through from just this map alone, as you're going to see a ton of them here through the replays. But I think a huge part of what ended up really turning it on here for the side of Doge Nation was when we started to see that last hill really become a lockdown there for them when they got a full 60, because they were down, up until that point right here by 50 points.
Yeah, and watch, when we get here, Abusa can just put his controller down. I mean, as you had mentioned it, no one even saw the hard point for Sukri's Bakery.
Yeah.
Let alone had any chance to do any damage to Abusa, so he really could have just kicked his feet up, opened up a clementine or apple or whatever he likes to snack on and just sit there and enjoy it. I don't know, dude.
Clementine came first, Alan?
It did. You not like a good clementine? It's a nice little refreshing snack, okay?
I'm just saying, that's the first one,
Granola bar? Trail mix, whatever.
All right. Point is, he had a lot of freedom, right?
2 minutes of hard point time, dude. 60 seconds of it was him just hanging out. What do you want to say?
No, he definitely did. Absolutely was able to just soak up the hill time. Wasn't very involved with the kills because he didn't have to be. Only 1,700 damage because your teammates are doing everything. And I mean, that really does speak wonders about a team that did not have anything put together really whatsoever, and all of a sudden starts coming up with series wins. And here's a great example of it in one of their better game modes, it feels like, for the most part. I mean, I don't think a team has actually been able to bypass, that 200-point mark, up against them throughout Kavuchi Hardpoint. So they've been very strong, even when they have those slow starts. And you just did not see the same impact from the rest of the members, despite kills coming through. It's not like they were heavily outslayed here by any means. Things are decently even across the board, considering a 192 to 250 mark. It's just the fact that it's the impactful kills. It's the 2 and 3 pieces we're seeing from Whalers and BB Connor that are just buying so much time for you to get a ridiculous amount of hardpoint time, and you're able to run away with it here. So that's a great opening, but that's kind of what we expected, right? Sukri's Bakery, this is not their strong point. If anything, this would have been a steal away. Now they're starting to get into what is going to be their stronger game modes now going forward.
It's just so tough to build the pretense of an entire series for playoffs, to go back to playoffs for a second time for Sukri's Bakery off of just winning the 2-3-5s, man.
It is
7-20 total, make it now 7-21 total on their hard points with the same roster over the course of what has been 2 months. It's just, it has to be better than that if you want to be contesting for a top spot and a championship, not just in EU challengers. You also got to consider that you expect that these teams are going to be in some form a part of the Minnesota Rocker Open that's coming up in the beginning of April.
Yeah.
You can't show up on LAN and not know how to play Hardpoint. Well, not know how, but not be able to successfully win Hardpoint. So I think it's kind of a, double-edged sword, obviously. You've got on one side the fact that Sucre's Bakery has been significantly poorer at Hardpoint than just about any other team right now in Challengers EU. But on the opposite side, not only are Doge Nation a pretty solid Hardpoint team, they've been pretty consistent over the course of this week, at least, across every map mode. So getting the 2-3-5 is by no means a guarantee versus Doge Nation team.
Yeah, and there's a lot of maps where you're looking at Doge Nation. They play, quite a few like round 11s, round 10s, right? And they're not winning out on all of those ones. So I mean, like, it's a totally different story if they can just start to put together either some more strategies or just being just a tad bit more clutch when it comes down to those end game moments. But we take a look at our fifth team currently in the standings. I mean, I have to re-hit it again. They were 0-4 before yesterday. This week has been a complete turnaround for this roster. I don't think anyone had them as one of the squads that could potentially squeak into playoffs, and now they have made the argument that they very well could do it with this series win. But the top performer, have to mention BB Connor. I mean, 1.3 overall KD. We even saw it there in the last map there, Alan, on the Gavutu Hardpoint. There was just moments you're getting from Connor that are just such an impactful play, whether it's finding these multi-kills or whether it's just setting up and being in the right place at the right time here for his teammates. He has been one of the top performers, one of the big turnaround players here from season 1.
And the thing too about Doge Nation is not just the fact that they've won 2 series in the last day, but both of those series were versus other teams that they find themselves deadlocked in a tie with, which is huge because all of their other losses, 4 of their losses, 3 of them were 0-3 losses. So if this were to have been down to map count head-to-heads, Doge Nation may not be in the running at all, due to the fact that they weren't able to take a map versus originals, and they fell to both Ultra and Rocker Academy teams 3-0. Right. But that's where you get that bottom point there, is that in even those 0-3 losses, almost every single map that they lost in either Hardpoint or Search and Destroy were either determined by 1 or 2 search rounds and around 35 or less total points. So they've been in every single series that they've played so far. The only thing that's been missing is the map wins, which is arguably the most important part. But the thing about that is just how it just goes to show that this team is competitive, where other teams that are at similar records have been kind of smoked by the top teams. That has not necessarily been the case on a map-by-map instance by Doge Nation. So there is at least something to take away from even the bad losses by map count.
Definitely. Yeah, no, there certainly is. It's like you're almost there. You've almost got it figured out, right? It's just a matter of closing out those end game moments that you can't necessarily like always practice for. I think a lot of it just comes down to the moment and comes down to the game mode and just being able to clutch up in those situations, be on the same page about what we're going to do, slow the game down at times, right? I think that's a huge part of what we see from the top teams, whether that's through North America, whether that's through EU, is that they can take a step back for a moment, just kind of figure out how we're going to do this, and then execute it correctly. Yeah, and we'll have to see if Doge Nation are going to be able to do a bit of that here today, because this is the game modes that you have to do it in. You have to see if you can close out a Search and Destroy, close out a Control. And I mean, it's not like we haven't seen, Sucre's Bakery also lose some of their best game modes. We go back to season 1 playoffs, and it was a hot 3-0 down low in the losers bracket, right, where they were unable to find a single map. So you can take these guys down in S&D and Control. And if you're able to do it, well, it's one step closer from punching your ticket into 4th place after being 0-4. What a story it could be here for them. But Sucre's Bakery, this is where they start to find themselves in their comfort zone. So we'll see if they can once again clinch that spot, get back into playoffs, and maybe prove a little bit more this time around. But Berlin, Search and Destroy. Here we go, Alan.
And the thing about this map in particular, Doge Nation are rolling hot off of a 6-1 win in their final match yesterday versus Revenge Tour. Oh, it's super. I think he was trying to counter sniper. BB Connor was. I believe he saw him, but cannot pull the trigger fast enough. Oh, and then a little jump snipe. Okay, super. The highlight player for Sucre's Bakery, able to lock down an impressive first blood.
BB Connor should have a free kill, and we'll go over to Henry, but he gives that beautiful call out. So Yakko is down, evens us up, 3 versus 3. Bomb is positioned over on the A site, but you just saw shots come through here, and that's going to make them play just maybe a tad bit scared. Are they actually coming here? Are they rotating? I like this defensive spread. They have not committed to one bomb site by any means defensively, but they have now lost Eric Boom, and that's going to open up B.
Oh, and Those are unbelievable long-range shots from Whalers, although Sukri
Always
does
reading
keep it
it.
interesting. Picks up super scope and then re-wrapping the shots. Oh, it was close. Nearly gets the gunfight and would have had a chance at a 1v3. But the recovery from Doge after being jump peeked by Super, immaculately found, a lot of it by both BB Connor and Whalers with automatons at long range.
Man, that was a sick kill cam. You see the lightning strike in the back there as
Yeah.
that kill came through? Dude, I'm waiting for one of those flashy little, final kill cams to come through with a little lightning strike at the end. My goodness. It's got to hit a little different. But here we go. Round number 2. I like it. Right at the start here, it was a good defensive setup. Just didn't end up working out here. A little bit of individual gunfights not being won. So now could they be a little more proactive as they're on the attack and have to make something happen inside of the A site? It's 3 members strong, but they're going to have to sniff out Henry. And Henry's able to come up with 1. Can Henry get a second? He's able to somehow survive a little longer. But Yakko finally gets there. Will be able to get the effective trade. But this gives you all the information you need right now if you're Doge Nation.
Sukri? Oh, okay. I was going to say, you could take your time there and still lock down that kill into Whalers, but wait, look at this read from Doge. I think they know that Sukri's position is pretty isolated. They're looking for a chance to contest him. And depending on how Sukri peeks and pokes at this, he may give himself up. Bomb planted at B, but Abuza, who's already running through mid-map, I believe he did just see Sukri, yeah, through the little cracks in the wall. But no opportunity to pull the trigger and find the kill, at least not as of yet. And this is taking so much time.
You gotta go.
And you have to go. You absolutely have to go. You still don't know what's in the back of the map. This is trouble for Doge Nation.
All right, so both are going to cut right through P5, but like you said, they have no idea if there's still a member back here, and there is. It's going to be all about Super just playing his life, and you still have to deal with Yakko on the site. There is too many players to deal with no real time, and Yakko is going to be able to hold on to his life. I mean, the time to even get to the bomb, it's at the 7.5 where you would have to stick the defuse here. So, yeah, a little bit too patient for the side of Doge Nation, hoping the kills came to them. A couple more kills come through in the end. It's Abuser that gets the best of it, though. But that's just, too easy of a round, I feel like, post-plant, and you're just able to simply hide in your corner, wait for the challenge to come to you, and the challenges just, they never come.
Yeah, a couple of weird moments there for Doge. The first is you go back to First Blood. Henry does everything you could possibly ask of him with no help in the same area code. He gets 1 elimination just sitting behind the desks and holds his life for long enough to where Doge Nation should be able to help him out. But they don't really ever fully commit to getting back into A and stopping that play, allowing what we saw, which was Sukri finding Whalers for free outside. And then the second is just, how do you not try to take away that space from Sukri faster when you're already reading a play through fires? So a couple of weird moments there for Doge Nation. This time, aggression right on into A. And no one is expecting that Yakko is playing a casual position on top of the closets. Although, Yakko himself, oh boy, I was about to say he's maybe playing this a little bit too slow, but the door bursts open in front of his face, allowing him a free look at a double.
Yeah, you'll take that every day of the week, and now it's up to Whalers to try to come up with a big moment, or maybe BB Connor on this pinch, but Sukri turns around, and now it's all up to Whalers. They know exactly where he is. He's got players all over him, and that is not going to be a single kill coming through for the side of Doge Nation. And yeah, Yakko finding that 2-piece. I mean, it is so hard, to be honest, when you're trying to come in here and you're trying to clear the site. It's so difficult to check every single corner, every single place you can kind of prone in and play your life, but it's necessary to do so because of moments like that, and Yakko essentially wins the round for his team.
Yeah, it's a little bit of bless up from Yakko, right? I mean, I think the whole idea here is you try to play to foil any post-plant situation, but with that door being naded open in front of him, he's just like, oh, hey, how you doing there? Any cookies and milk on your way in? I don't know what office buildings are giving away cookies and milk, but I would like to work there. The good ones, true. So now Sukri, Automaton, will try to take this opening cross, and he for sure at least sees one. BB Connor and Henry did kind of cross together. Hello,
what a
high-low stack. Okay, interesting look, and that's not actually going to deter Sukri's Baker from getting this plant off. I would not say this is advised, and Yakko's going to have to do Yakko things here if they want to win this round in a 4v2.
Oh, he's going to find the head of Abusa, takes some shots on the Whalers, and gets out with his life. No trade came through, so all of a sudden, this round maybe does become clutchable. Yakko with some timing. He finds another 4 in a row. Yakko, can he outplay this again? Oh, ring around the rosy, Yakko. He's taking on the entire team, and he might be able to find the ace. A 1v2 for Abusa. His teammate gets it. Yakko, what have you done?
Oh, he's done everything, brother. He's done the good, he's done the bad, and he makes it look like the ugly for Doge Nation, too. Oh, my goodness. Look, here's the thing. The defense of Doge Nation watching that cross was completely unmatched defensively. They take the first 2 kills by watching through street. Yakko slips in and even still commits to getting the plant off, which initially is just like, brother, that is bold. Like, you're essentially hoping that your final teammate can at least play more of a clutch up spot, because there's no world where you tally up the probabilities and think he gets more than 2. Maybe even more than 1, but that's the Yakko we came to know and love from BO4 showing up again. Individual finesse, and now an aggressive look as he and Sukri are making a play up through mid-map. Whaler's not ready for it. He gets dealt with. The trade will be there. BB Connor able to find 1 and get away with his life, keeping us 3v3.
That was insane. Both players that crossed just kind of wrapped back through the window and then hit a mid-play where they thought they were maybe camping inside the site, but more kills are coming through. Eric Boom able to find Henry. BB Connor gets the trade. So a 2 versus 2. A little bit of time to work with. Both players are going to be a little bit split, though. BB Connor maybe needs to find a way to get over to his teammate because, yeah, they're going to drop the bomb at A here, and it looks like it should go down. Abusa, though, is going to have to play his life, and let's see what he does.
Yeah, I think Connor's been seen, though. Super just snapped over to his direction, and, yeah, he has seen him up top. Hit marker will come out. No kill, but the pistol forced to come through as Abusa does find the elimination, leaving Sukri into a 1v2. Players both on his backside, gets a look, but Abusa says, oh, okay. Misstep a little bit, it's going to run back. Play off of the bomb. Force Sukri to make this play from a very predicted angle. Abusa again is going to find him. I don't think he means to keep running into Sukri, but he keeps finding him in weird spots. And with no time on the clock and Sukri on a double, he's going to say that's good enough for me with his 2-round margin and back away, keep his life.
Yeah, no need to overforce anything. I still do like the different play calls that are coming through back and forth. I mean, just to hit it again, like Sukri's Bakery, the whole idea there is to bait the call out on how many players are inside of the site with the cross being watched there. And they kind of just, cross, wrap back through the window, look for a mid play. But the problem is they're not able to push out anywhere after they find that first blood. And I think Doge Nation just do a really good job of isolating the remaining members that can't really exit back to their side. And then from there, it's like a 2v2 where no one's really with each other, and you're able to get the bomb down, and Abusa just playing his life there, playing off the information. But once again, cross going to be watched. Sukri's probably going to call that at least one has went through, might have caught eyes onto the second, and now you're going to have to work for these kills. But Henry, he's just flown right at them and is not going to give them any time to work with, and already we're down to 1 member remaining here for SB.
Look, I really have to give credit to Doge Nation on this setup. If you remember back to their previous defense, Henry is the sole defender in A, right? When the attack to A came through, he finds that 1 elimination and gets away with his life, which was pretty solid. But this time, how does he be allowed to get aggressive? It's BB Connor that plays forward with him. And look at the position from Whalers watching over the middle of the map. It allows Henry to get aggressive if he wants to, and he reads that situation 100% correctly. So Sukri, this would be a 1v4, no bomb in hand. And the defensive respect from Doge Nation is, let's not give him anything for free. We know he's on a couple in a row. Force him to have to make a play. Otherwise, we're fine keeping him on 3 just kills for now.
And Abusa did just see him cross. Looking down low. Won't be able to find it there. Nice play from Doge Nation. You hit it at the start. Everyone just winning out. Initially off the battles, nice little route comes through there behind from Henry. And once you lose 2-3 players like that, good luck retaking that site, because there are so many corners to come back through with. And this has been great response here for Doge Nation. A hot start for Sukri's Bakery that went up 3-1 at the back end of Yakko, making some pretty incredible plays, has now resulted in just better team play, better strats being called, it feels like, here for Doge Nation, with a couple of key responses to be able to get themselves right back in this S&D. So 3-3, all tied up. Big swing round, though. Round number 7. Henry looking to see if he can find some more value as he flies through the door. Snaps on Yakko. No supers in the window. Will he try to push for him as well? You know Henry's starting to feel it. But reinforcements coming through in the back now defensively for Sukri's Bakery.
But the back legs are still kicked out. And then BB Connor makes his presence known as he watches the cross through mid-map. Again, This is a really cool setup from Doge Nation. It all starts with Abusa. Can you find the information on a quick entry in towards the A site? And as he gets the read and a couple of shots in, you saw how Henry entered in. He dives forward, holds the left side of the desks and cabinetry to kind of keep him covered, and he's able to at least help out with the kill onto Yako. And then, of course, Super, as you had mentioned, is completely trapped. Help was trying to get there, but the second part of that offense is BB Connor makes sure that no one else can rotate in by playing through the ruined hallways of the middle of the map. It really is a very dynamic and multi-layered setup for Doge Nation offensively, and there was never a chance for Sukri's Bakery to respond to that. It would have had to have been kills from Super and Yako, and they only tally one together. Great stuff from Doge Nation, now in the lead up 4-3.
And guess who you're missing right now? He's Super, one of the all-star players here for the roster, right? 1-6. Right behind him, Eric Boom, one of the entry subs, 2-6. But this could be the play for Sukri. He's able to get himself a first blood. He knows he's not really in a safe position, but he's just trying to hope that he can maybe bait out a player and find a quick trade, because he's got cover over the middle of the map with an AR, but Whalers is not going to give him any kind of a peek. Yako, however, finds himself in familiar territory as he's right back around the site at B. Bombs, nades, everything kind of taking off, going off. But what is Yako going to do? He's going to wrap back. It looks like they have complete clearance at A. It's been completely cleared out, and they're going to make a last-second rotation.
It's the spot from Super that allows them a chance to rotate. And the scouting report, if you've done your homework, if you're Sukri's Bakery, is that Whalers will always be fire defensively. He's literally always there. So you have to know the middle of the map has to stay contested for you. So it's a good rotate, but Doge Nation have made the right plays to try to counter this. That's what to say Henry through Secret could really foil this post plant. But he gets tallied up by Super, leaving it really largely on this flank from Whalers.
No.
Eric Boom's going to see him just across the corner of the trains. And, well, for Abusa, decision to be made here in a 1v4 of how you would even want to try to get this off the ground, and he gets stifled before he can even make up his mind on what he wanted to do. So 4-4. A nice read here from Sukri's Bakery, and a lot of it does come from the fact that Super really did dominate the middle of the map here in this mid portion of the round.
Yeah, they did. I mean, like that first kill that comes through and then immediately just jumps right outside of the secret doorway, just plays his life, waits, and buys a little bit of time. And there's no like dedicated hit to either site either. So you're kind of on your toes the whole time as Doge Nation. Like, okay, are they coming A? Well, they got a first blood here, but I don't think anything else is happening. Okay, they're coming over to B. We just saw Yako, and then all of a sudden it's a rotation. So a lot of rotations taking place here for us on Berlin S&D, as we tend to see it here from time to time. But Doge Nation, they might be trying for something a little bit more aggressive on the B site. It is going to be all up to Super to try to hold the cross, but Yako instead has found a first blood. Henry right there for the trade. 3v3 we go with a minute left on the clock.
Oh, Henry nearly gets the full read on Eric Boom. But the thing about that, even with the elimination from Henry, he stops the defensive play from Sukri's, which was the attempt to get through mail around the back and deny the warehouse post plant. Henry's elimination stops that from happening. So BB Connor is much safer here in the back. He can just wait for Abusa to make first point of contact, of which he pulls his best Yako cosplay. Turns around, has a look at the second. Oh boy, windows from behind will eventually be where he falls. But Connor's in a great spot. He knows he's not going to get contested initially, although Super is moving extremely quick around the back. I just don't know if this is going to be quick enough. And, well, through the doorways, he doesn't expect BB Connor to just be holding a corner. And that's the luxury of being able to shut down Sukri Bakery on their defensive push to the middle of the map. Your warehouse post plant is safe and secure from there on out after Henry gets that first kill.
Yeah, I mean, another 2 versus 3, like a huge part of it is just the fact that like when you are left alone and isolated inside the site, like at some point in time, you're going to have to try to find some good timing to work out in your favor and take a challenge. And that's what does end up happening there for us. They take that challenge, they find the first kill, puts us into the 2v2, immediately you find the second, and then you just work for the player into the back that just needs to play the clutch spot. Doge Nation, they've turned this S&D map around, and it's not even coming off of one individual player. Again, everyone pulling their weight here so far. But 5-4, Sukri's Bakery. They need this round win. And looks like they're coming back to the A site. They've been playing off of a lot of rotations, but this time it's Eric Boom that's going to be holding on to that bomb, and you come right through that door. BB Connor's going to rip you apart. First blood easily picked up here for Doge Nation.
It's a very similar defensive look for Doge Nation. The thing that's different is you're reinforcing A, which means Henry does not have the ability to push forward. It's just BB Connor watching his side door and Henry watching the front. And as exchange of eliminations come through the middle of the map, this is the only play available. Sukri's Bakery has to hope that Yako can get around and open up this A side, and he's done so successfully. Also knows that Whalers is playing mid-map, so there's only 2 ways that he can come in, and you still have to know that Henry is in the site. But they can't find him. They can't find Henry. He gets out, gets away, slips under the staircase, but Yako eventually punishes. But now the question is, where has Whalers gone? And with the time ticking down, Whalers should get a free angle onto Yako, but actually cannot see him. And Yako will extend the round an extra 45 seconds as he successfully plants and gets away with his life.
And guess what? He's got a sub. And Whalers, we know, one of the slower players here in the lobby. What is he going to do on this retake? He's going to clear everything throughout his side, but he doesn't know if Yako could have wrapped. Instead, Yako is just sat in this corner. He's playing a 50-50 angle. Whalers checks it. And Whalers will take the 1 versus 1. Doge Nation. Oh my goodness. They are just clutching up in maps that they weren't doing throughout week number 1. And they are now 2-0 up in the best of 5.
Yeah, this is not good news for Sucre's Bakery fans, and better news, I would say, for Doge Nation, because out of all of the search and destroys that they have played so far in Season 2, their wins have either been wins by a milestone or they lose in round 11. So we wanted to frame up the question, can you finish off tight maps? A round 10 search and about a 50-point game in the Hardpoint have given us a pretty convincing yes thus far. And a lot of it comes off of the fact that, I was trying to break it down in real time. There's not a lot of time to do it, but the little dynamic nuances to Doge Nation's defense around the A site were huge catalysts for success. And I go back as well to the one round that I was breaking down. You'll see it here in a moment, where Sucre's Bakery and the defense try to push through the middle of the map, and Henry finding 1 kill stops them from ever getting the full flank push through. So it's just foiling Sucre's Bakery off the get-go. So many moments where the first blood engagements heavily favored the Tides of Doge Nation.
Yeah, and how good was Henry here in so many of those opening engagements? I mean, just no fear, I feel like, is one of the big factors. And then we get this round. This was the 2v3 round that really stung here for Sucre's Bakery. And then the 1v1, baby. Whalers might have been having a rough go of things up until that point, but he finds 2 massive kills there in the round number 10. That gives them the 6-4 victory. Yako, I think, had one heck of a performance here on the other side, but even the individual play is not enough to push them over the top here and clutch up in a game mode that they have been historically pretty strong in here.
Yeah.
Doge Nation, I mean, this is just such a crazy turnaround in such a short amount of time, because what was it in the cup there, Alan? Was it top 7? I want to say that they got there in the previous
top
cup.
6. Yeah.
So top 6, right? So like still not necessarily contesting the top teams here, but they have certainly been able to show that they are amongst the best in the elite, and potentially an argument now for a top 4 here in the elite, as they just need 1 more map to get the job done, close things out, and stop Sucre's Bakery from having a second appearance here in playoffs.
Unreal. Then Yako in a losing effort going 12-7 never feels great if you're a Sucre's Bakery fan. But I'll tell you, it really did come down to the playbook just being overall better for Doge Nation. It really was just good dynamic changes here and there, especially from the defensive side. It's much easier, I think, just to kind of read defensively what the mindset is around the 2 sites. And the thing about this too, and I kind of come across here as critical to Sucre's Bakery, like, all you have to do is watch Doge Nation, and when they were United Nations last season, you have to know that Whalers is going to play top fire every single round. Every round, he's going to be there. So the fact that there weren't any kind of nades to push him off, or just keeping him isolated by staying away from him, really kind of felt weird. So, I don't know. I think it's kind of a double-folded thing here, where not only did Doge Nation show some really cool setups between Connor and Henry over towards A, but Sucre's Bakery never really found success isolating Whalers, even with a scope, by the way, or breaking down the defensive setups around the A site, even though Yako had an impressive 1v3 essentially over towards B. I mean, there really wasn't too much as far as the playbook is concerned that I felt super confident what Sucre's Bakery was throwing.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the case. I think there were a lot of unique strategies coming into play, which is not something I was necessarily expecting. I mean, I love the idea, even from both sides, just kind of dodging out on some of the cross calls that you get, pushing through mid, immediate aggression. You have to be able to throw all of it into the mix here, and
agreed.
They are able to do it. 6-4, but now we turn our attention to what is going to be a control coming up here for us, Alan.
Yeah.
I mean, this one, if you're going to win one, this is going to be it here for Sukari's Bakery, right? This has been one of their better game modes. Again, we keep talking about that. It will be a Tuscan that, of course, we're going to be jumping into. And, it's just a matter of Doge Nation. Are they going to be able to continue to keep this going? Because we go off of a lot of what was happening through week number 1. We weren't getting a lot of great stats coming through for them. There were a lot of close maps, but we weren't seeing them, actually close out the wins. Well, it's been a different story this time around. Yeah. The last 2 series are good. This one as well. And, I mean, maybe there's an argument that they could actually get this done in 3.
It's a tough argument to make just because historically this Doge Nation team has been notoriously poor at control. In fact, as far as the statistics are concerned, they're 1-5 in control this season with a minus 1.1 differential on average score, which is technically speaking by both map count and average differential the worst control statistic in EU, even including what Signs has put together, who is the next worst, also at 1-5, but with a better margin of loss, if you want to call it that. So if you're a Sukari's Bakery fan, you've got a map 3 that you should be feeling pretty good about. And if you can get to the 5th, that is your most played search and destroy, being Tuscan. The problem would be, even if you win this map 3, how do you win a Bacage where you only played it once and you got blown out at it way back in week 1, day 1 against Revenge Tours? So the path for a reverse sweep is not a favorable one, but it does start here first and foremost. And if you can come out looking good on this Tuscan and you start to get these SMGs hot, who knows? Maybe there is an opportunity to steal away a Bacage from this Doge Nation team who, let's be candid, yeah, they've played it a lot, but they have not necessarily dominated that map mode combo.
Yeah, hasn't been one of their maps that they've just been frying in by any means. So I think this is still possible to bring things back, even though Hardpoint hasn't necessarily been good historically. But this is where it starts right here for Sukari's Bakery. If you want to see that 4th seed, it starts right here, right now. Yako already with a nice kill up top. We'll be able to fly through for the 2nd, and that's going to give you plenty of space here for a first take of progress.
Yeah, and they've got a read here that number 6 in Abusa is in the back, so you kind of set yourself up positionally to make sure you can get the 2nd tick of progress, and then the players off respawning to make sure there is no pinch coming through. And it looks like they're actually going to be allowed vacancy and just concession of largely what is this A zone. Doge Nation not trying to use Abusa's position to get around the back and try to retake this. So, I mean, there's a late maybe surge coming forward, but they're not going to get here in time to stop this 3rd tick of progress. They will get a couple of opportunities to get kills on the exit, but realistically, for the side of Sukari's Bakery, you're fine with this because you spawn up and you go right to B and you've already got some openings. Yeah,
they've already been able to fly right through, but they do have to worry about the pinch, and guess who's there reading it? It will be good here for Eric Boom. Finds another one, and now Yako into the back. Could start to pick apart some of the members coming off of spawn. I like this. Backtracks completely. Waits for the push to come to him, but he's not ready for the challenge up top. But that is at least 1 tick of progress in over to B. Now you can slow down, start to play for kills right now. You have plenty of time on the board, and you have some decent map control, but we'll see if they can try to work back through here through the front.
Look, I love the initial transition from A to B for Sukari's Bakery, but I'm not head over heels about their setup around the B site when they essentially walk onto B for free. It's what? You got one player in Yako who's kind of trying to zone forward. He doesn't have a lot of ARs watching over the top of him, and they don't even really keep patio control. Super really wasn't able to lock things down, and as they try to retake it, you start to see why that's a problem. Doge Nation, just with favorable positions around the B zone, keep this contested. Now, Yako has slipped the feed just a touch. BB Connor still playing on the backside patio stairs will make sure he's dealt with. And this is, again, it feels super one-dimensional for Sukari's Bakery. You just have to convincingly win the kill feed. And even though they got a couple eliminations, I wouldn't say it's convincing as of yet.
Yeah, one more player has been able to get to the top of patio again, but Eric Boom, he is taking over in the back. Stun is going to freeze him up, but should be a cleanup for Yako. No, it's not. Henry finds the battle and takes down the engagement, but no one is on the zone. They're simply eliminating lives. So Eric Boom gets to keep the spree alive. He gets to control the back of tank with an automaton, but his teammates have to battle through the middle of the map to even get to the point again.
And the fact that you have to say they have to battle through the middle of the map just kind of goes to show, like, if we were to cross-compare what we just came out of watching Rocker Academy play up against Vengeance on this map, how many times were the offenses finding success because they continually found easy access off of respawn to get into key positions of the map? Defensively, it always felt like the team that was trying to defend the B zone was pressured more than the team on the attack. That has not been the case here. Even with 6 kills coming essentially almost in a row for Sukari's Bakery, they made no further progress on the B point, and they never were able to reestablish an entryway to get back over after respawn. They're being challenged in the middle of the map. They're being challenged through Church. And that's where you really see that there's things that are missing on this offensive setup for Sukari's Bakery. We do have an 8v6, though, so it's not on their own possibility. This comes down to, can they use this long flank to get on and find the kills they need?
A lot of pressure on player 5 Whalers to watch that flank, but he's calling for help. Abuse is in. They'll find a kill on the back, and that is going to basically solidify the round. You only have one more potential push, and all of it would have to come from Yako, who will be able to maybe come through Church Alley. But 2 players locked at the back, 2 players essentially here from the front. Yako playing for one last touch, but will immediately go down to his teammate's nade. So that will stop it here offensively. We'll be able to hang on, getting a little low on the lives, but still, nonetheless, a defensive win for Doge Nation.
Just think about how many times we were crediting players like Real and Denza and Wardy when we were watching this map in our last series about how long they finessed their lives in key positions.
Sure.
Sucre's Bakery had none of that. Even with Yako and Eric Boom finding good kills, it didn't really turn into too much because there was still an easy avenue for Sucre's Bakery, or for Doge Nation defensively to get back involved. So that's kind of where you're seeing those key differentials at the moment. This time, Doge Nation on the offense. 3-man stack gets the quick capture of the first tick of progress at A. Sucre's Bakery's opening nades have not connected for any kills, so they're going to have to do this the old-fashioned way if they want to do it at all. And with the progress just being heavily stacked, they're not even going to bother with this. This is going to be a free extra 60 seconds. Only 9 seconds missed off the clock as they get themselves 2:15 to play with, looking towards B.
Yeah, really early zone, and now we'll see, okay, what is Doge Nation going to do differently here to be able to get themselves some map control? Because you don't have any of it. You're just getting yourself into P5. You don't know if there's players down low. You don't know if there's players tucked away in a corner. So you have to do all of this searching at the moment here and play a little hide and seek to see if you can get to at least to the front of P5. Eric Boom's going to take down Henry. That's going to give them a little information here, but you're playing really slow if you're Doge Nation, hoping for pinches to come through, hoping for kills to come your way, and they're able to get a trade, but they're still barely hanging on. I mean, they're just trying to battle themselves out of P5.
All right, let me counter my point with another point. For as poor as some of the attempts from Sucre's Bakery were offensively, this defensive look, there is no reason for them to overextend. So those defensive plays for Doge Nation on P5 don't turn into anything because Sucre's Bakery are already in comfortable positions on the defense. You're set up exactly where you want to be. There's no need to try to push forward for extra kills. And with that, a minute is already off the clock. And Doge Nation are now just getting their first look at the B zone. These kills not even convincing enough to even get on yet. So really job done for Sucre's Bakery. They make safe the play through the front. They even have some players watching the flank. And Whalers is going to have to wait for teammates to start spawning up. And once again, like you had mentioned in the previous kind of spree, Doge Nation have to clear off so much of this map still.
I mean, like, think about how much time they had, right? They had a minute 20. What have they done in a minute 20? They've gotten to the bottom part of Church. They got player 5 in the back here. So you really need to make sure this play in the back works, and it is shut down. Whale was just doing it all alone. No stuns, no nades come through. It's just too easy to set up right now defensively for the side of Sucre's Bakery. And now they are able to push out for the front of P5. But guess how much time's left? 35 seconds. Henry opens up with a couple of kills. But can they deal with Eric Boom? Oh, it's just taken down 2. Might be able to find a third. But Abusa is there for 2 right back. But it's now about, can you try to survive? Can Henry find yet another kill? Yes, he can. And he'll keep this play alive. But he's still waiting for his teammates to come off spawn.
He needs help badly. Yako's taking a long route around this play for Doge Nation, who are not stacking, so the progress is not coming through all that quickly. Oh, but BB Cutter does read the play around the back, so now you can focus all of your attention to the front with only 2 players to deal with, and they get the full flood! Now you need to double stack this, get the second tick of progress, and hope that you can find progress fast enough to make sure the defensive rotations can't get here in time. They're finding the trades, they're finding the kills. Doge Nation, with the stack spreading the zone, mean the nades cannot fully connect. They break in the last second, and they get the third tick of progress before Sucre's Bakery can fully get there.
Well, maybe they only need 20 seconds to be able to make their final hit to come through successfully, but I think a huge part of that, and something that we hit on during the Tuscan Control, was, listen, if you're going to make that flank play and that pinch play, you better make sure it works out successfully. And because there's no value that comes from it, you're battling then a 3 versus 4 on the point, and you're losing the high ground. You have a player shooting at you from the top of radio, players that are all over the top of patio as well. And they are able to win out on those battles here. Doge Nation 2-0 up, and they're going to kick off round number 3 beautifully with a double. Sucre's Bakery, we've seen this story before, and it is not going to be easy to recover in, as it is 4 down, 0 trades come through off the first engagements.
What a beautiful exchange for Doge Nation. They get the read mid-map, and Abusa, who had played forward defensively at B, gets that call and says, I got to get out of here, because the other 2 are likely coming through P5. The help comes out, and it's literally a flawless opening defense to blind counter Sucre's Bakery. 4-man hit. Intentions were to be But off the spawn, they do have enough space to get onto A for free. Taking a half worth of progress will turn quickly into 2. Whalers considering the contest, but has a number of Sucre's members to deal with, including Eric on the cross, who cannot find the kill. Henry comes through. They stop the progress just before it gets locked in, and this means extra time off the clock as the defense is up 5 lives as well.
Up by 5 lives. A zone should still come through here for Sucre's Bakery, but they're going to have to put on a similar performance coming off of this zone. If they can at least lock it down here, it's going to give them a minute 40, but one more player could have came through and played spoiler. Not going to happen. Abusa is shut down. So 17 lives here for the side of Sucre's Bakery. They're going to have to make some noise happen in the back of the map on this push. You feel like something's got to be convincing for them to make this offensive push happen successfully, but the pinch from behind! Oh, what a snap here from Eric Boom. Will they actually sniff out the second? BB Connor looking for the glide bomb, and he is going to get it.
No, that's a massive tool to try to lock down this defense. Even if things kind of break bad here, he's got a bailout tool. That said, Sucre's Nation have already kind of put the pressure over towards the B zone, and now they're starting to stretch forward not just one, but a couple of members. I think Sucre's did get naded himself, so he couldn't really follow up. First tick of progress will halt as our team in blue continues to search for eliminations, and they're finding them. Super able to find a key win versus Whalers. Means that this Doge Nation defense is going to be stretched relatively thin, and Sucre sees it as an opportunity to set up a bit of a mini pinch. Cannot make full use of it, and Yako maybe a couple of shots short from being able to capitalize, and with that, Doge Nation retake and deplete the first tick of progress.
Look at those spawns. This is the trouble with control, right? You're now way across the map, and you have to start using your nades and stuns at the start of P5 here, just to be able to get yourself pushed out the front. With 45 seconds left, this is going to have to be, again, convincing. You need a full feed of blue to pour in there in order to actually get some kind of progress or some kind of map control. And Sucre, he kicks it off beautifully here with the first kill on the Whalers. Eric Boom gets the second. Onto the zone we go. Sucre's Bakery with a tad bit of control.
But Connor does get a double. That'll slow down the progress significantly. Even though Henry falls, there is no stack here. The clock is stalled, but only marginally, as Whalers off respawn cuts back through Church and turns that into a clearance of the zone, plus one more. And then, well, there it is. The punishing nail. It meets the coffin. BB Connor. Glide bomb in, finds Super. No player on the back available, and Doge Nation, my goodness, they did everything we could possibly ask them to do. Not that we were independently asking them, but they had to win both matches yesterday and then today, prove to at least you and I that you can close out tight maps and show improvement in the control. They hit us with the trifecta. They do all 3-0 in the series.
And how about that? How about that? 3-0 in the series and a 3-0 in the control. I mean, we said, listen, this is one of their worst map mode combinations. I mean, statistically, and they come out here, Alan, and they 3-0, winning an offense with a stack at the end. I mean, we were criticizing how slow they were taking it, but nonetheless, they still get the job done. And I mean, they get the final playoff spot after going 0-4, man. 0-4 to the fourth seed, squeaking into playoffs. Like, what a story here for this squad that everyone was overlooking, including myself.
Throw me in the conversation too. I don't mind being a part of that bus because, I mean, I feel like a lot of us, I mean, when we talk with Infinity and Proper a bunch at the beginning of the first stage, we're like, this Doge Nation team, like, where do you really expect them to fall? And I think all of us are like, this roster is just weird, man. Like, it's, I think, a marginal improvement upon the United Nations team from last season, but marginally so is the thing. It's like, it didn't really feel like there was going to be massive amounts of success instantly after they qualified again. And the initial week kind of re-hit our same points. You know, looking just at the map count, not really kind of dissecting over this team is like, oh, they only won 2 maps in the first week. That's not good news. But you look at the opportunistic mindset of a player like Whalers to kind of break down, re-hit. He's got the veteranship that you want. I don't know if he's the one IGLing. I assume that there's a lot of communication coming from him, but a lot of their losses were tight losses. And you love to see a team that can come through, fix those mistakes, and turn it into convincing wins. I will not lie to you, Austin. This Doge Nation team is going to be a dangerous threat come playoffs.
I think so too. I think that if you underestimate the squad, they could now come out and win. They've proved it this entire second week. Now, mind you, it wasn't versus the top teams, but it was still convincing. And I think that's what you need as a confidence standpoint at this, from the squad to be able to come in and actually say, okay, we can take a series off of you. We've seen the upsets already happen throughout season one in the first couple of rounds. They can happen here again. And I think this team could potentially do some damage here. They could pull off some upsets. They're looking really good, really gelled and meshed out. I mean, this could be an exciting fourth seed coming in here versus our other squads here, Alan. I'm really hyped. This team did it all from the impossible right to playoffs. So they've done it.
Love to see it for Doge Nation. You had to know they're feeling super saucy. But let's take a look back at our schedule in case you missed the action from today. We had a battle for the #1 seed in Europe, and boy, did we get given a battle. An insane 4-map series where Vengeance were able to take a 3-1 win over Rocker Academy. That's 2 losses back-to-back for Rocker Academy. Take that for what you will. And then as we had mentioned, framing up this series, Sucre's Bakery was holding the 4th spot at 3-3, but Doge Nation beating the other teams that they were in a head-to-head tiebreaker, and meant that if they were to win, they were in. And boy, did they ever show us improvements. A 3-0 there leads us to what's going to feel like a little bit of an extended break before the action heats up again for North America. Both of these matchups you see on your screen, Ultra Academy versus Infamous Esports and Stallions versus Whatever It Takes, are part of a 5-way tie, I believe, or maybe even a 6-way tie. I don't even know, but there's a lot of teams at 2 and 4. That much I know for sure, and that means that as far as tiebreakers and situations for playoffs, who knows? Nobody knows. Nobody knows what's going to happen in North America.
Yeah, a lot of teams at 2 and 4 here for us. I think it's a total of 5, and I mean, it's really hard to come through and say this team's getting in, this team isn't. There's so many head-to-heads. There's so many things that are going on here for us. All we know is that, as usual, North America also going to be just as exciting as we get into it, and we'll see who's going to be able to also clutch up and squeak in for those remaining playoff spots, man. That's what we're here for.
We'll go on an extended break, but you do not want to go far. Europe has been determined. We have our final 4 teams to make it to the playoffs next week. A battle up top saw Vengeance really showcasing improvements over Rocker Academy, and then Doge Nation punching their ticket and looking like a major threat. But if you like tiebreakers, come back. North America has a lot of them.